people die. Are we clear?
The Morning Rush starts right now.
Yes, sir.
So Bob Bowlesby, the commissioner of the Big 12, finds himself in a precarious situation. You heard from Josh Pate, 24/7 Sports, talking about if Texas comes to the SEC, they're not going to get 1.5 or whatever shares that they think they deserve. They're going to be on equal footing with the rest of this league. How does that affect Texas A&M? How does that affect Arkansas? And what does the Big 12 do from here on out? He had some media stuff come out over the weekend, not just with all SEC selections, but where the conference is going to end up. No surprise, Alabama selected as the team to win the Southeastern Conference. You got some news for Arkansas football as well. So we are loaded up here on a Hot Take Monday. And I think a lot of people saw this video over the weekend. Tom Brady and I know it's a gun in basketball, but what did you guys make? Was it fake or real, the video that he put out there?
What do you think?
I was looking for like the hitches. You know how in video you can tell if there's a pause or something?
Or a cutaway.
A cutaway.
They cut it, yeah.
I mean, it looked about as real as it got, but he did. I mean, 3 straight just right where they need. I mean, I know he's the greatest quarterback of all time, but I don't know how you do that. Especially when he backed up, I mean, was it 20 yards away at that point? I can't figure it out if it's true or not. It's the Bo Jackson stories that you used to hear where it's like, no way Bo could have done that. And then he actually did it. And Brady seems to be in that category at points as well, not necessarily from an athletic, physical standpoint, but what he's able to do at his age, still be the prolific quarterback he is. So I'm almost unwilling to doubt that it was real or not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like you that I'm watching the video again here, just with the jugs gun they call it. And he throws it right through the right. It's like the video's in reverse, but it's not, because he's throwing it right. If you haven't seen it out there, throwing it right into kind of the teeth where the wheels come together, and it's kicking it right back to him. So
he's got an excellent producer, or he can just do things that
it's a 22-second video.
Possible.
It's got nearly 9 million views this morning. Here's my question: could the machinery actually handle that? Anyway,
well, it fell on the last one.
Yeah,
that's and it popped up.
Yeah,
or
the whole thing fell off the tripod. Yeah,
I don't know, but I just thought that video was pretty fascinating.
You're on Twitter, just search Tom Brady. It'll be the first thing that pops up when you go to his Twitter account. But anyway, how was your weekend?
I had a great weekend. We had an awesome time at SEC Media Days. Again, appreciate Arvest Bank, Construction Masters Roofing, and Ozark Orthopedics with their coverage of us all week long. Had some good food this weekend. I've got to get back on the wagon. I know we got some golf that we're going to get into today. Thank you for the invite to that. We're going to have a fun time today. There's just there's a buzz in the air 40 days out from Arkansas football, as you may have heard this morning. There's a lot of things to be excited about as we approach Razorback football getting closer and closer.
Yeah, and every conversation gets back to or centers around this conference expansion stuff now, and I love it. I mean, it is a fun conversation. I had 2 or 3 lengthy, and everybody's got a theory. Everybody's got everybody's got a solution on how you do the conference realignment, how the SEC should look, how pods or divisions should look. I got several emails from listeners over the weekend with their thoughts on how it should work, some with detailed tables and spreadsheets, and I enjoyed reading them and responded to several of them in length. So enjoyed all those guys and appreciate the old school emails coming in and just thoughts on that. And everybody, I think, has really got their attention turned on what's going to happen with the expansion of, and we say college football. This is college sports. This isn't going to just stop with football season. This is going to affect your basketball and your baseball and all your other sports and how they're laid out in your schedules. So, I mean, I know the focus is football because it drives everything, but I think this is a lot of fun for people right now, and you feel secure and you feel okay about it because you're Arkansas and you're a member of the SEC. If you were Kansas State or Oklahoma State or another one of these Big 12 schools, you'd probably have a lot of anxiety right now.
I know
Probably not been as fun a weekend for you.
I know that my aunt, who is a graduate at Oklahoma State, we also have two buddies over at Bell Point Beverages that are big-time Oklahoma State fans and alums. They were not happy about how this went down because they don't know where they're going to end up. Are they going to end up in the Pac-12? Are they going to end up in the Big Ten? Is the Big 12 going to add on? Are they going to get sucked in by the AAC? I don't know. I've just seen a flurry of things on social media being reported.
Everybody's got a source in the league office, right?
So we're going to have on longtime ESPNer Ivan Maisel on tomorrow. He's now with On3 Sports. He's going to be joining us. Got a chance to catch up with him at SEC Media Days. And then on Wednesday, we're going to have an Austin, Texas sports radio host. I got to look up his name. I think it's Brad Kellner, if I remember that. Yeah, Brad Kellner, if I remember that correctly. Just kind of get a sense, not from just a national standpoint from Ivan, but Brad, what's going down in Austin, because and what they feel about that. Now, Texas seems to think their fans gotten on some Texas message boards, and they seem to think they're going to take over the SEC. They are sub 600 in the Big 12 since 2010.
Yeah, I mean,
sub 600. They're about, I think it's 583 is what their conference record is.
They're not going to take over in the boardroom or on the football field immediately. And I think they can certainly build into a competitive team and be similar to the success A&M's had. I don't know if they can rise to the level that Auburn or LSU's had the last 5 years. I mean, you're talking about teams with LSU that won the national title, and if you go back, I guess, 10 or so years, Auburn won one, has played for another one. So, I mean, I think they could be maybe Auburn or something like that, but, it's not going to happen immediately. I don't understand how Texas, for the better part of, more than a decade now, has not been better in that league. But, a lot of discussions there. I think it's fun. I know there's a lot out there about 20 to 24 teams reaching out to the SEC and how this thing could expand way beyond 16. I got a lot of thoughts on that, too, as we move through the show. And, when do you cease to become a conference and when do you begin to be a league or an association? Because to me, you get much past 16 or 18 teams, Ty, you're no longer a conference at that point.
I just like the idea of them going to 16, the ability to play every single team if you stay 4 years. Mm-hmm. Because if they set it up a certain way, you can play, whether it's the pods or it's the separation 8 and 8, there is an opportunity, depending on how the SEC, Greg Sankey, Mark Womack, Herb Benson, and their team schedule it, that you can play every single team in this conference. That is appealing to me. And you think about some guys, I think that Texas A&M has yet to travel to, maybe it's Florida. There's a marquee matchup that has yet to happen, and since the league's inception.
Well, and I know Florida came to College Station their first year, because that was one of the big matchups, but there needs to be a formula or a system where in 4 to 5 years you play everyone in the league at least once. And
you can do that based on how I've seen some of the setups with what potentially could be the new conference.
Just need to listen to us. We've got the solutions. If they just listen. All right, a lot to get to. I'm sure you've got a hot take on how all of this should fall out. We'll hear from you this morning as well. Text or call the show. We're brought to you by Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off I-49 in Springdale. The best brands, the best prices, the best service from Lee J and Chris. You'll find it at Wheels RV. And lifetime warranties on every new RV they sell at Wheels RV, plus a mobile service shuttle to keep you camping as well. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
Got some Hog football news to share with you coming up here on the Morning Rush. A couple of your guys recognized by the SEC media down there in Hoover, Alabama. A lot more to get to. Stay with us. It's the Morning Rush.
Hot Take Monday is brought to you by Wheels RV, Highway 412 in Springdale, and online at wheelsrv.net.
Hey, it was BYOG, bring your own guts.
Wheels RV in Springdale wants you to seek out all the Natural State has to offer this year. Explore Arkansas in a new RV from Grand Design, Forest River, KZ, Heartland, Keystone, or Alliance. All the best brands at the best prices. Enjoy peace of mind with our lifetime warranty on every new RV and a mobile service shuttle to keep you camping. So come on in and discover why Wheels RV was voted the best RV dealership in Northwest Arkansas. 5 miles west of I-49, exit 72. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
It's time for the largest music festival in the River Valley, the Peacemaker Music Festival, featuring Cody Johnson, Paul Coffin, Muscadine Bloodline, Colby Cooper, and many more. The Peacemaker Music Festival, July 30th and 31st. For tickets and more info, visit peacemakerfest.com. Let's do this, Peacemakers!
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936. Harry Robinson Buick GMC wants to buy your vehicle, and they'll pay top dollar today. Pre-owned car values are at an all-time high, and your car is worth more today than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Buick GMC, and they will pay you more for your trade. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they will still buy yours. Harry Robinson Buick GMC, exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
AC not cooling like it should? Don't wait till you're sweating in a hot car. Get to Cherokee Tire & More in Mansfield, where they are ready to provide AC services for all your vehicle needs. Need new tires, oil change, or other services? Call or come by today and let James and his crew take care of all your vehicle needs. Cherokee Tire & More has semi-truck and ATV tires, along with truck accessories like rough country lift kits. Located at 700 Highway 71 North in Mansfield, Cherokee Tire & More is open Monday through Friday, 7 till 5:30, and Saturday, 7:30 till 2.
Farm Credit has been a trusted friend for over 100 years. They are ag financing experts. So whether you're a longtime farmer, new to farming, or buying your dream home or land in the country, their experienced staff has a plan to fit your goals, needs, and your bottom line. From farms to land, livestock, equipment, and more, Farm Credit finances it all. Learn more at myaglender.com. Farm Credit is an equal opportunity lender.
Did you know that you can get your car serviced or repaired without ever leaving your house? All you have to do is call Jody's Auto Service Center at 479-649-3399. Jody's will pick up your vehicle, service or repair it for you, and return it fully disinfected to your driveway. Pickup and delivery is free for jobs $75 or more. Jobs less than $75 can be picked up and returned for a $10 fee. Let Jody's Auto Service Centers handle all your service and vehicle repair needs. Call 479-649-3399. Jody's Auto Service Center.
Do you remember the joy you felt as a kid about pizza night? Remember how good it smelled? You could taste it even before you opened the box. And then, that first bite. It was so good. Be the supper time savior. Order Jim's Razorback Pizza now. 434-3456. The best pizza in Fort Smith, or it's free.
Jim's Razorback Pizza. Tri-Hill Turf offers the highest quality turf and pest services. Hey, you say those are big words. Well, let's see. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has a company agronomist, state and nationally certified technicians, free soil testing, and they even have precision GPS guided application equipment. Now that's high tech. For over 30 years, Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has used the latest application technology, and they strive for turf and pest excellence. They are your local turf and pest experts. Call the local team at 782-0404. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest.
Hi, folks. Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center. Are you feeling trapped making payments on a car you don't like? It's time to declare your independence and get into something nicer and newer today at Rath Auto Resources. We're making it easy with discounts up to $4,150 below suggested retail on a great selection of Rath road-ready vehicles, each one hand-picked and inspected in our Meineke Car Care Center. Plus, we need trades, so we're giving up to $3,200 extra for your trade-in. Those savings really add up and make it easier than ever to trade up into something nicer and newer, even if you still owe money. If you're keeping the car you have, let us take care of it for you in our Meineke Car Care Center with free AC performance checks, half-off brakes, and buy 3, get 1 free on all tires. Better yet, declare your independence and start driving better today in a Rath road-ready vehicle from Arkansas's favorite used car dealer, Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith, or online, rathauto.com.
Requires bank approval. Negative equity may be refinanced. Offer absolutely ends by July 30th, 2021.
ESPN 95.3.
The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson and Tommy Kraft.
He's got to let loose. He does, and it is intercepted. Hudson Clark again. inside the 45. They'll force him out of bounds down near the Ole Miss 30. Arkansas's going to win this football game.
Streaming live at hitthatline.com.
So Calvin messages on Facebook this morning. Our video stream always on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. I just want to see a sea of burnt orange chanting SEC, SEC, SEC. I hope they choke on it. Yeah, it is going to be weird if you see a massive Texas crowd starting to chant SEC. I don't know how I feel about that. But we'll come back to that conversation. Do want to mention some Arkansas accolades that have been divvied out as of this past week by the Southeastern Conference media.
All right, in a little while, we'll have some headlines for you as well. Hey, if you're looking for a trade that will give you a great living for you and your family, and if you're looking for something new and different in your life, look for a career in welding as a possibility. Graduates of United Welding Institute find great paying jobs, and they're all over the country that you find postings and need for great career welders. You can get started at United Welding Institute. And if you're not sure, you've thought about it, hey, I'm really good at, and maybe another skill or a craft like plumbing or carpentry or many other things, welding might just be for you. You could try it out with a free trial at United Welding Institute and find out in a pretty quick order if this is something you'd like to pursue. They'll give you the equipment, and they'll give you an opportunity to try welding out for a little while and find out if this is something that fits your skills and your aptitude. If it is, they'll help you get a GI Bill, a scholarship, or a student loan to pay for the tuition and the training to become a career welder. United Welding Institute in Pottsville, they have students all over the country making a great living. Currently, they have students from Massachusetts and Pennsylvania training now in Pottsville, Arkansas. Contact them for a free trial and get started at 479-968-3390. That's 479-968-3390, or log on at UnitedWeldingInstitute.com.
So with the All-SEC selections, you had Ricky Stromberg, Grant Mormon, Jalen Catalon were the guys that second-teamers, and then Myron Cunningham got third team, and then Traylon Burks got first team. Again, these were voted on by the Southeastern Conference media that was down there in Hoover, Alabama at SEC Media Days. Anyone get snubbed or not enough credit for their skill set?
You had Catalan. You think about the ones that have to be there. That would be Burks and Catalan, right? You can't have and Morgan, perhaps. You can't have a list without those guys. So I think you got the ones that absolutely have to be on there.
Mm-hmm.
I think Stromberg and Myron Cunningham and some of those guys. It's nice to see some veteran players, particularly with Cunningham, get a preseason honor, preseason accolade.
The first-team quarterback is Matt Corral. The running backs are Tank Bigsby and Isaiah Spiller. Along with Burks, you got John Mechie. Jalen Wademeyer is a name that people remember because he torched you when he was a Texas A&M Aggie this past year. Hopefully you'll do a better job with that. Second-team quarterback, J.T. Daniels. And then you've got Kevin Harris at South Carolina and Zamir White. Georgia is speculated to have the best backfield in the Southeastern Conference with how deep it is. Pickens winds up his second team, even though we don't know his timeline with coming back. And then Kashawn Booty, however you say his name for LSU, is the second team wide receiver as well. So some talented players on this list. And Bo Nix somehow, some way ended up as the third team quarterback. Well, been waiting on Bo Nix to, and I listen to him. He's had 3 offensive coordinators in now 3 years, and I know transition can be difficult, especially at that position in college football.
You said it's Corral, then Daniels, then Nix?
Correct.
I mean, you look at the experience coming back, and kind of surprised Bryce Young didn't get in there by default, just because he wears that Alabama, helmet with a number on the sides. I could have seen that happening, but, these are preseason, but you look around the league, I think that also kind of tells you where this league is at with quarterbacks coming into the league. Doesn't mean that there won't be good quarterback play, but I think what you can say is at least in September and probably early October, there won't be great quarterback play across the league.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know that there'll be great quarterback play 6, 8, 9 quarterbacks deep in this league this year. I don't think you can count on that.
I think we've had this discussion before. This seems to me like a weak SEC quarterback class, especially.
If you're a 4- and 5-star quarterback, there's really we've talked about this for a month now. There's really only one school in the SEC you should consider. There's about 4 schools in the country you consider. I mean, there's only a handful of those guys that get that label 5-star quarterback. There's, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Clemson, Alabama are about the 4 that a lot of them either go to or end up at after they transfer, seemingly. That's where all the best quarterbacks end up, at least.
Can Arkansas ever get into that elite category from a quarterback standpoint where enough talented players want to go there? The Mitch Mustang, Ryan Mount was so unique in the sense that Mitch was a hometown kid. Ryan was basically a hometown kid right across the line and grew up an Arkansas fan. And, I mean, you had 2 5-star quarterbacks back-to-back seasons that you were somehow recruited. 06 Mitch, and you had Ryan from, or I know he was here in 07 because he had a red shirt, 07 to 2010.
Yeah.
So it was a very weird, you didn't think it was, and I said it was 08 to 2010. It was just odd how that played out, right?
Yeah.
And
so your question is, can it happen? Can you get that level of talent back here? And my answer is, we'll see what NIL does. What is Arkansas going to do? I mean, we've seen what Alabama's kind of at least projecting out there with Saban saying, hey, Bryce Young's got nearly $1 million in name, image, likeness agreements already and hadn't even started a game. Where does Arkansas end up in that category? Is Arkansas going to play the game or not? Because to get top-shelf quarterbacks, you're going to have to play that game, right? I don't see any way around it, at least sitting here at the outset. That appears to me, if you're going to be in the running for a 4 or 5-star quarterback, you're going to have a proven track record of probably giving those guys an opportunity to make good 6-figure money on NIL. We'll see what happens.
With the Bryce Young news that Saban came out with this past week, that kind of sent a surge. I know that Ryan
set a bar, that's for sure.
Ryan Day at Ohio State, Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma, Dabo Swinney at Clemson. They're seeing that and they're trying to figure out
they're
how
getting on the phone, calling boosters and saying, "Hey, we got to step to the pump, guys."
If we want to keep recruiting, because Oklahoma just got another 5-star kid to commit. He did the horns down at a ceremony. I'm forgetting his name, but if you want to keep bringing in the top shelf quarterbacks, the top tier, like Tommy's talking about, you're going to have to pay up. And that's simply, I mean, when you got Arch Manning that can make maybe $10 million in his first season as a collegiate quarterback, that's just wild. What's going to be coming money-wise for some of these high school recruits?
Yeah, it's amazing. That's my answer. That's my opinion. I think I'm right on that, but I think if you don't play that game in a big way, you're not even going to get considered by that handful, 6 or 8 quarterbacks a year at most that would fall into that category. Hey, tomorrow is Taco Tuesday at Joe's Grill and Cantina. $1 tacos all day at Joe's. Tomorrow night they'll have music on the patio. And we heard the big voice guy say 40 days away from Arkansas football. That means every game this season, half-price apps and taps. I know we're 5 weeks out or so, but you can still make your plans to be at Joe's for the games this year. Joe's Grill and Cantina, live music tomorrow night, and $1 tacos. Joe's, South 74th, across from Harps and Fort Smith.
Hot Take Monday is brought to you by Wheels RV.
Here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
Do you know the difference between admission and confession? Admission is acknowledging the truth of something. Confession is a formal statement agreeing that you're guilty. Greg Allman admitted he's no angel, but that doesn't mean he confessed his guilt before God. Romans 10:10 says, heart one believes and is justified, and with the mouth one confesses and is saved. Confess to God that Jesus died in your guilty place, and then you'll receive His amazing grace. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Pray about it.
78. Hashtag technology without the headache.
Building a home can be stressful. This is true whether you're the homeowner or the contractor. Many times these issues result in a lawsuit. If you are a homeowner or a contractor and find yourself needing legal help, call the attorneys at Kevin Hickey Law Partner. With experience representing homeowners as well as non-payment or other issues that could arise during construction. Contact Brad Hull or Kevin Hickey at 479-434-2414 in the River Valley or 479-802-6560 in Northwest Arkansas. Or check them out at the web at artriallawyers.com.
Have you been looking for your next place to call home and just haven't found the right one? Then it's time to check out the properties at Trinity Multifamily. With a variety of apartments, duplexes, townhomes, and houses, there is surely one to fit your needs. Whether it's in the River Valley, Northwest Arkansas, or Central Arkansas that you are looking at, they have you covered. Give them a call today. Trinity Multifamily, 479-452-1817. That's 479-452-1817. Or online at trinitymultifamily.com to search rental properties near you.
This is Bruce Stanton, Vice President and General Manager of Pradco Fishing in Fort Smith. Our #1 volume lure out of our 20 fishing brands is the Bobby Garland Baby Shad. We make them by the millions in our facility in Fort Smith, and the Baby Shad is without a doubt the #1 soft plastic crappie lure in the U.S. Fish it on a light jig head or underneath a float, and you'll find it's as productive as live bait. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle stores all over the place. The Bobby Garland Baby Shad.
At Ashley Air, keeping your home comfortable is what we do best. We're confident you'll make the right decision when trusting us with your AC cooling needs. For only $69, one of our technicians will make sure your AC cools when it matters the most. Our technicians specialize in keeping AC systems operating at peak capacity 24/7. Call us today so you can enjoy peace of mind knowing you'll stay cool and comfortable all summer.
AshleyAir.com.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging. Would printing from your phone or tablet make your life easier? Are you emailing files to yourself so that you can print them from your desktop or laptop? The Xerox VersaLink and AltaLink lines of network printers and multifunction printers will natively print using your phone's built-in capabilities. Apple AirPrint and Google Cloud Printing just work. To order yours today, give us a call at 783-6600 or visit dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing document innovations to the River Valley.
Harry Robinson Buick GMC wants to buy your vehicle, and they'll pay top dollar today. Pre-owned car values are at an all-time high, and your car is worth more today than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Buick GMC, and they will pay you more for your trade. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they will still buy yours. Harry Robinson Buick GMC, exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
ESPN 95.3.
Good morning to the Morning Rush, everybody.
Franks off play action, fakes to Smith. He's going to throw left side into the end zone. It's complete. Touchdown, Arkansas. Devion Warren hauls it in.
Just say, Alexa, play ESPN Arkansas.
ESPN Arkansas from TuneIn.
Hot Take Monday on the Morning Rush. There are some headlines that I want to get to this morning. I know that a lot of you have been discussing amongst your friends, amongst your coworkers, amongst your family, the possibility, the idea of Oklahoma and Texas joining the SEC, which looks like that's where we're trending towards this morning. So we'll get to that. A lot more coming up here on the Morning Rush.
Hot Take Monday, always brought to you by Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off I-49 in Springdale. Hey, our state, the natural state, has so much to offer with new RVs from Grand Design, Forest River, KZ, Heartland, Keystone, and Alliance. The best brands at Wheels to get out and see Mount Magazine, Petit Jean Mountain, Bull Shoals State Park right below the dam there on the White River. I mean, so many great places. Devil's Den. You just think about all the places you can go across our state and enjoy a great lake, a great river, some great mountains, and you can be there in style with Wheels RV. Stop in and see them, get a great price and a lifetime warranty, and Chris and Lee J will take care of you and your family. That's Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
It's also Sandra Bullock's birthday. Do you have a favorite Sandra Bullock movie?
Time to Kill, probably. Her and Matthew McConaughey.
Okay. I need to.
One of them.
I think I've added that to my list of movies that I need to watch.
Samuel L. Jackson in that movie.
What's it about?
It is about in Mississippi. It's kind of got a dark storyline, but it's a great movie where a man's child was raped and nearly killed by two guys, and he goes on trial for murder because he goes into the courthouse when they're being arraigned and he wipes them out, kills them. And Matthew McConaughey is the lawyer. Sandra Bullock is a young up-and-coming aspiring lawyer, and she helps Matthew McConaughey defend him. And ultimately, Matthew McConaughey gets Samuel L. Jackson, who's playing this role, acquitted.
Okay.
Because he leads the jury to the conclusion that, hey, someone did your kid that way, you take care of him too.
Okay. A Time to Kill. Need to
Add
add that to my list. All right, some headlines to get to this morning. Arkansas has
I think that was a John Grisham book too, by the way.
Okay. The 2021 Arkansas Sports Hall of Honor class has been announced.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Wellman, men's track and field. Clint McDaniel, men's basketball. George Stewart for football. Robert Farrell for football. Tiffany Woolley Moyer for softball. Sandy Morris for women's track and field. Now, the 2020 class didn't have the presentation because of COVID, so they're going to be doing it Friday, September 17th in the Walden Arts Center in Fayetteville. Again, that's the 2021 UA Sports Hall of Honor. Tommy, the only name I recognized on this list was Clint McDaniel.
Well, Robert Farrell would be another one I think a lot of our audience would certainly recognize. Clint McDaniel, obviously, I think goes a long ways. And if you're someone that pays a lot of I'm with you. Some of these track and field names. Now, Sandy Morris should be a name you know because that's very recent with track and field and current. So I get why you might not get some of these names, but I think a lot of our audience for the football and basketball, and I think Sandy Morris is a name a lot of people would still recognize at this point, so or should. So.
Did you see the recruit that on South on Interstate 49 bought a billboard?
I saw this. He's an 8th grader in Bentonville.
Bear McWhorter.
Mm-hmm.
We want to get Coach Pittman's attention. It's the idea.
Yeah, I saw that there was going to be a story on, I think, Channel 4029 about it, and I just saw the screenshot on Twitter of it, and you know, there's a mom and dad that really loves their kid is what would be my first takeaway right there. That's really invested in getting that college scholarship.
His dad played left guard, and I'm reading the 4029 story. He played left guard at Furman University, so he's got a little college in his background, but he's got. I mean, like everyone else, you got to prove it on the field. Right,
eighth grader, right? That's what I remember from it.
I just see 13 years old. I think that's right. The age.
So, and pretty good sized kid for that age as well. So
hopefully he'll keep growing.
Yeah.
Also saw that Tate Martell transferred again. Ohio State, Miami. Now he's going to UNLV out in Vegas. I think he only threw like one pass for the Hurricanes this past season.
That doesn't seem to be going up. Ohio State, Miami's not a huge step down, but not Ohio State. UNLV definitely not on that level. So.
The Tate Martell transfer portal continues. And I think when you see this, I know that each transfer is different, each story, but when you see guys transfer 2, sometimes even 3 times in college, you start to wonder if it's not the coach or the situation they're in, if it's just the player themselves.
Wonder?
You don't wonder.
You actually wonder?
You just assume, right?
Yeah, all right. It's at some point you got to look in the mirror.
Because there's a great tweet grab from a while where Tate Martell is saying Nick Starkel is bad. He uses another word, but then he ends up just doing all this. So it's funny to me how, I mean, this is I think Bishop Gorman, 4-star quarterback, and now he just is going backwards.
Well,
he's not failing upwards, Tommy. He's going down. He's falling downwards.
And this is when we allow people to take the trapdoor and use the transfer portal multiple times. I don't think we're doing them a service as a young adult to learn perseverance, to learn that sometimes you have to fight your way through a situation. I think there could be caveats to the rule that if the coaches change and something extraordinary happens at a school, but just to leave because of playing time or you don't like your coach or your coach is being mean to you or and I don't know all the backstory on Tate Martell's situation, but we are not doing today's youth a great service by setting up these rules just to allow open transfers more or less. And I think they're trying to tighten some of this up, but you've got to do something to make these young adults understand that sometimes you gotta see it through, and the grass isn't always greener on the other side.
Yeah, and for Tate's case, it seems like he is yet to really persevere through what he's gone through with this transfer situation. Saw Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, put out that Aaron Rodgers apparently wants a guaranteed $90 million over the next 2 years. That puts him in Patrick Mahomes level category. And this Aaron Rodgers stuff, I think he gets fined. And the from what I heard this morning, the Green Bay Packers cannot pull or waive the $50,000 fee for every day he misses training camp. He has to pay that, is what I heard this morning.
$50,000 is nothing for him.
Nothing for him because he's making.
You hold out and you get $90 million over 2 years. You don't care about the $50,000, over 45 days. That adds up to beans. That's nothing.
So what do the Packers do in this situation with?
Get Jordan Love ready. That's what you do. You give him all the reps and the snaps you can possibly get him. I think ultimately, can Aaron Rodgers better himself by sitting out a year? I don't think that's possible. I mean,
depends on what he's trying to gain. Because I've heard so many
$90 million apparently. Yeah. That's what he's trying to gain.
I think it's a combination
and more control of his situation,
respect, money. I mean, what do you think about that? Because
I think it is partially about money. I think it's as much about control of his contract and his situation as it is about the money.
He just felt like he was sliding. I heard Alex Smith on Cowherd talk about how when the Kansas City Chiefs drafted Patrick Mahomes, he was aware of this the whole time. He was aware of the process. They walked him through. They told him everything. Rodgers was taken aback. He had no idea what this was coming. Is that the Packers organization's job to let not just the star quarterback, but the face of their franchise? Are they required, in your opinion, to let him know, hey, this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, or is it just a point where the organization does what it wants?
Let me put it in our terms. If I had hired Drew to join our show as the producer and kind of a third voice on the show, and you didn't know till the day he showed up, how would that make you feel about the level of respect you were getting from me and the organization if you had no clue and you weren't involved at all in the process of selecting a new producer and a new teammate here that was going to work side by side with you, and you had
zero zilch
zero input, no knowledge prior to his just arrival. How would you feel about that?
I think I'd be a little irritated.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I think that's.
I don't know if I'd hold out, stop coming into work, but I think I'd be a little frustrated.
Right. I mean, make you wonder. Where's my real place in the organization? So, I think that's exactly kind of on a much larger scale where Aaron Rodgers. Hey, you could have at least given me a text or a phone call that, hey, in about 10 minutes we're getting ready to draft a quarterback.
All I heard in the past minute is you just compare me to Aaron Rodgers. So just you opened a wormhole.
I said go back and listen to the tape on our level. Let me compare this on our level.
I saw that France beat the United States over the weekend, snapped a 25-game winning streak that the U.S. had in the Olympics. They hadn't lost since Argentina in 2004. I don't know if the bigger news...
We should have seen this coming, right?
I don't know if the bigger news was that or the basketball robot at halftime. Did you watch that?
I did not. This was, early Sunday morning, so I did not see this, but obviously have seen the headlines and read about it. We've got to know this is coming. This isn't the era of the dream team anymore, number one, for the Americans. Number two, because of the dream team and its ability to spread the game globally, all these other countries are much, much better at basketball, and then you have NBA stars like Rudy Gobert playing for countries like France. So this is inevitable that the gap between the rest of the world and the USA has dramatically narrowed. And I don't know if they'll even win the gold this year. I think it's going to be difficult for the Americans to win the gold in basketball.
You have some players that weren't going to play this year, and I don't have begrudge or hold a vendetta at after how the NBA season when it was pushed up, and I don't understand. If you're going to put on that, and they're frustrated. I know there's reports coming out that they're frustrated the way with Greg Popovich. He's trying to apparently hammer in his Spurs offense into their system, and it hasn't been working. So a little malcontent, a little discontent between the players and their head basketball coach, which is never going to bode well.
And listen, you got to want to be there with all of the hoops and rigmarole you're jumping through and the testing and what's going on to be a part of the Olympic team this year in particular. You've got to want to be there, and there's going to be a fight to there's going to be a fight to want to stay. You're going to have to really want to stay and win gold to be in these games.
The main headliner of our morning on Hot Take Monday is this Texas and OU conversation. Danny in Russellville is called in, and we will get to that coming up here on the Morning Rush.
All right, first, a word from World of Wireless. 877-305-DISH is the number to call Ben and his crew. Get installed before this weekend when you call WOW now. 2-year price guarantee, voice-activated remotes, whole home DVR, HD in every room. You can also inquire about the Playmaker, the easy-to-use portable satellite system, perfect to take to tailgates, deer camp, take out on the boat, take to RV sites. We were talking about RVing a little bit ago. You can take it anywhere you want to go. It's less than 8 pounds, easy to set up, and can save you a ton of money. Got a second home? Maybe it's the way to go. Or a deer cabin somewhere? This might be the way to go. Call Ben at World of Wireless, 877-305-DISH. Ask about the Playmaker. Also ask about the move to the Hopper system and Dish right now with a 2-year price guarantee with prices below $80 a month to set up your home. That's 877-305-DISH for WOW, World of Wireless.
Danny, what do you think about the possibility and likely probability of Texas and Oklahoma joining this league?
Yes. Well, it's a lot of money involved for Arkansas and the rest of the SEC. So if this happens, which it looks like it, you're going to have to move Alabama and Auburn to the east and Mississippi State and move Missouri back to west. That makes a lot more sense. And really, why not just bring in Oklahoma State and add another team in the east, like a Florida State or Miami or North Carolina or either Central Florida or et cetera, et cetera.
So, Danny, real quick on that. Kentucky, South Carolina, Florida, there's one other school that have banded together, and they will vote against anyone inside their state joining the Southeastern Conference.
And Danny, at what point do you cease to be a conference and you become a league or an association? Is it 18 teams? Is it 20 teams? I mean, at what point is it no longer – you have so many members, so many teams – you're not really a conference.
Yeah, we're paying players, so we're an association. But you know, it's going to be hard for Arkansas to win, but they're going to get a lot of money out of it.
It's hard to win now.
Yes,
in football.
it is.
In football,
and it's going to get worse. But we'll do well in other sports, and I think the money talks. You know,
everybody's all in on this conversation. Well, you won't be able to recruit Texas at all because Texas and Texas A&M, and it will make it more challenging. But you'll also have the idea for kids in Texas that, hey, we're going to play seemingly at least one game a year in Texas, and maybe with a non-conference game, you play another Texas school from time to time. I don't know, but I mean, you're going to have a bigger presence in Texas one way or the other. If this pans out the way it looks like it will.
Is that enough to sway a kid to choose Arkansas because they get to play one more game in Texas instead of their hometown state? If they're choosing between playing for Baylor,
we've always heard that the game in Arlington was a big deal for recruiting. So,
yeah, but you've talked about, and you're the one that hammers the nail that said it's more about recruiting students to go to Arkansas, not for football. You've said that that's more the bigger deal.
That's my belief, but we're told otherwise.
I would say on that note, because that would be the positive that I think I brought up last week, is the idea of getting to play another game in Texas. But to me, and it just pertains to Arkansas football, I think there are more cons to adding Texas and Oklahoma. I'm not talking about the entire conference. I'm not talking about basketball, baseball, any other sport. To me, I think there are more cons for Arkansas football as a program to add Texas and Oklahoma than there are pros.
So would you be willing, if we could set it up like I was talking about last week, 2 divisions, 8 teams each division, the Mississippi schools come west, basically use the Mississippi River as your dividing line, and Arkansas would be in a division with A&M, with Texas, with OU, with Missouri, the Mississippi schools, and LSU. Would you be willing to trade what you're talking about there and the difficulty in recruiting and playing Texas and OU every year for not having to play Alabama and Auburn? I mean, that's the trade-off. You'll play them occasionally if you go to 9 games and you rotate the other division, but that's the trade-off in the deal is you don't play Auburn and Alabama every year.
Well, you order the schools as follows, 1 through 4, Alabama, Oklahoma, Auburn, Texas. So you get to play 2 and 4 rather than 1 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, you take that, and that's why when you brought it up last week, I was all gung-ho about it. And from a talking standpoint, this is great for us. Texas and Oklahoma added to the schedule the opportunity to play a long-time Southwest Conference rival and a team that's right across your border that many of you have a high distaste for. From a talking standpoint, that's great. But the question, and our Morning Rush poll question this morning, is how does this hurt or help Arkansas football? Not the athletics department, the money, not that way. If you want to start there, it helps with money. But what does it do for this football program? Let's go to Rod on I-40. Rod, you're on the Morning Rush.
Good morning, gentlemen. How y'all doing?
We're well.
I tell you what, Tommy, when it comes to send somebody to Austin, I nominate Ty. He's probably never been to Longhorn down there to see that mess.
Been there once. Haven't seen Darrell K. Royal Memorial Stadium, but I have been to Austin one time.
Yeah. When you're a fan of the opposing team, it's a singular experience, I believe.
Yeah, they'd probably place me up in the rafters like they did those LSU fans in the band a year or so ago.
Don't throw any beer on you or anything like that or take any crap off of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, OU, I can see that. I mean, I can totally get behind that. That would be a really good border rivalry. The heck with this Missouri thing. Give me OU. I mean, I know they're a far better team and it's a big risk, but man, that's going to be a war on the border that day. You know it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, living in Fort Smith, right there on the Oklahoma border, that's going to be something.
Yeah, because Norman, how far is Norman from Fayetteville? About 3 hours.
From Fayetteville,
yeah,
probably three and a half, something
like
that.
I'd like to see OU. I'd like to see Oklahoma State too. I guess we'll take Texas. They can come to our place. And I guess we'll have to go to theirs, but it won't be me. I'm not going back to Austin. I refuse.
I'd go to Austin. So I think
I'll take a pass in that burn orange nation down there.
Yeah. Rod, appreciate the call this morning. I said last week, and it doesn't work from a money standpoint, I would much rather add Oklahoma and Oklahoma State than Texas and Oklahoma. That, to me,
you would rather add who?
Oklahoma and Oklahoma State than Texas and Oklahoma, but it's just not going to happen.
Oklahoma State just doesn't bring enough to the table.
Yeah, and that standpoint, wrestling is not, I don't think, high. Does the SEC even have wrestling?
No.
Because that's what Oklahoma State is known for the most, not their football program. Not to say that Mike Gundy hasn't done a great job because they've averaged like 10 wins. That program is a model of consistency down there in Stillwater, but it doesn't necessarily have the national brand that Oklahoma does.
Or Texas.
ESPN is the biggest benefit of all this if this does indeed happen, because I'm assuming they're going to do away with the incredibly failed Longhorn Network and then just kind of morph
it into like SEC Network 2, or that's what no one's asking my opinion other than right here. That's what I would do with it. It would become SEC 2 or something, and because you're going to need more distribution if you have more teams. You get rid of it. It's already piped in, technically set up, and you've got distribution. You try to expand that. You fold that money into league money, as we talked about, and the numbers bear this out. The current league deal has teams getting $45-ish million each. Now, they borrowed against future revenues this last year, so each school could get like $20 million when they needed it last year during COVID. The new contract, which goes into place, 2024, 2025 school year, projects to give each school mid-$60 million revenue. And as we said last week, they're going to have to find a way to generate another $120 million-ish a year. That number may be closer to 130 when you look at that number, because Hunter Yurachek or any other AD in the league isn't signing up to not get that 65 and take 50 instead, because, hey, let's welcome in 2 more schools. So how do you get the numbers up? Now, I'm sure there's a caveat to renegotiate the league deal with ESPN if you welcome in 2 more schools and you perhaps expand to 9 games and some things that may happen. So
because ESPN gets it 2024, 2025,
right,
the full,
right?
Because
so
CBS has had that one game of the year,
right? So
week.
But you're going to have to find a way to get that number up another $130 million a year to keep everybody's slice of the pie the same.
We talk about slice of the pie being the same. According to Dennis Dodd, the Big 12 is considering the idea of paying the Sooners and the Longhorns 1.5 shares each. And that would make them making $56 million a year. They're making about $37 now. So the Big 12 is that desperate that they're trying to pay Oklahoma and Texas 1.5 shares, and then instead of everyone else just getting one. So again, it would go from 37 to 56.
The other take a 15% cut, or however that math works out, for them to take another full share and split it.
And you heard Josh Pate, 24/7 Sports, at the top of our open talking about the SEC's not going to do that. It's like you can come for the same revenue share and split, or you don't need to come at all.
1/16, if that's where the league stops, 1/16 is still more, perhaps, than a share and a half of the Big 12. That's the only thing you need to know. If the SEC invites you to the league, you got to come. And the Big 12, if they do this, a share and a half, it's really over for them at some point. They won't survive.
I would think even the idea of presenting that means it's over.
It's desperation.
Yeah, it's desperation to the highest extent. Now, Bill Snyder is keeping the faith, the Kansas State head coach. He says the Big 12 came through this before and will again. Keep the faith. Bob Bowlesby and the school's presidents are good leaders. Negative talk won't help. Well, that's all well and good to voice that opinion on social media, but in my opinion, the Big 12, even if they're able to salvage, even if they're able to merge with the AAC, which is another report that's out there, they're still not going to have the same cachet or glamour that they've had with the Oklahoma Sooners and Texas Longhorns being associated with that conference.
All right, I want to get into this in the next hour. There's tweets and reports out there. Everybody's got a source in the league office that's got close knowledge of the situation. There's some reports out there that 20 to 24 schools perhaps have reached out to the SEC. And who wouldn't? I don't blame anyone for not trying to get at least their name in the hat to be considered for membership in the Southeastern Conference at this point. Who out there beyond Texas and Oklahoma, if you were willing, if you're Greg Sankey and the SEC members, to expand beyond 16, who's that short list you would actually listen to and consider the idea of 18 or 20 schools? Let's talk about that list in our mind of who you listen to when it comes to those calls that, okay, we might go to 20, but it's got to be these schools in order to do it. Brought to you by Standard Materials Group. They have immediate openings for ready-mix drivers in the Northwest Arkansas area. If you have a CDL license without an automatic restriction, you want to be home every night, work with a great company with great pay and benefits and a team environment that you're going to like that gives you the opportunity to grow with a company. You can apply today, jobs.crh.com. They got jobs in Harrison and Fort Smith and other places you're listing this morning. They need help within their company as well. That's jobs.crh.com. Standard Materials Group and APAC is an equal opportunity employer.
Hour number 2 headed your way. It's the Morning Rush.
Wheels RV in Springdale wants you to seek out all the Natural State has to offer this year. Explore Arkansas in a new RV from Grand Design, Forest River, KZ, Heartland, Keystone, or Alliance. All the best brands at the best prices. Enjoy peace of mind with our lifetime warranty on every new RV and a mobile service shuttle to keep you camping. So come on in and discover why Wheels RV was voted the best RV dealership in Northwest Arkansas. 5 miles west of I-49, exit 72. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
Welcome to Toyota's National Sales Event.
Thanks, Jen. You know, I've been waiting to get a great deal on a new Toyota all year.
Great deals are kind of our thing. Right now, we've got exciting offers on our lineup of 2021s, like Camry, Corolla, RAV4, Tacoma.
Oh, wait, look at that Highlander. Jen, do you mind watching Chance?
Okay. Listen, Chance, I run a tight ship around here, so I don't want any funny business. Aw, who's a good boy? Toyota's National Sales Event is on, but these offers won't last long. Visit your participating Toyota dealer today. No, Chance, that's a display. It's not real grass.
Get $750 customer cash, or qualified lessees can lease a new 2021 Highlander L for only $279 a month for 36 months with $29.99 due at signing. Toyota, let's go places. Offers available in select states and end 8/2/21. Visit Toyota.com for details. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyota's national sales event, which ends on September 7th.
Today's pros need today's tools, and nobody understands that better than the Home Depot. Our app makes it simpler to get supplies ordered and delivered. Our online project calculators cut guesswork and last-second supply runs. Job site delivery puts what you need where and when you need it. And rental puts the right equipment in your hands, but not your overhead. That's how today's pros get more done. New tech, new tools, old-fashioned hard work. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Needing your roof repaired? Ramos Roofing is a local company that has over 25 years of experience specializing in your residential or commercial roofing needs in the Oklahoma area. Ramos Roofing, a company you can trust, offering discounts to senior citizens, law enforcement, or healthcare workers, and assists in your insurance claims. Ramos Roofing, standing behind their work so you can stand under it. Call 479-420-9903. That's 420-9903. Ramos Roofing, working with you to build a better home.
Did you know that you can get your car serviced or repaired without ever leaving your house? All you have to do is call Jody's Auto Service Center at 479-649-3399. Jody's will pick up your vehicle, service or repair it for you, and return it fully disinfected to your driveway. Pickup and delivery is free for jobs $75 or more. Jobs less than $75 can be picked up and returned for a $10 fee. Let Jody's Auto Service Centers handle all your service and vehicle repair needs. Call 479-649-3399. Jody's Auto Service Center.
It is officially open. Wave Rural Connect for Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative members north of Ozark, including Cass, Paradise, Batson, and others. To sign up, call 1-833-4WAVE-RC or go online at signup.waveruralconnect.com. Fiber internet starting at $49.95 a month. TV $32.95 and phone $29.95. It's what you've been waiting for and more. Trust me, we love it. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Getting the kids to practice on time. Remembering if it's your day to bring snacks. Making it to the game with a clean jersey. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like whether your kid is going to run toward first or third base. That's simple human sense.
Call Kohler & Green Insurance today in Fort Smith at 484-9888 and Kohler & Green Insurance in Van Buren at 474-9888.
Why do I run? Is it because I'm driven? Because I love the challenge? God, no. I do it for the beer. If you're the kind of runner who does it for the beer, this summer you can get one on us with the Michelob Ultra Beer Run. Grab your run buddies and get out there, because this summer there's beer at the finish line. Sign up at ultrabeerrun.com and trade your miles for beer.
Hi folks, Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center. Are you feeling trapped making payments on a car you don't like? It's time to declare your independence and get into something nicer and newer today at Rath Auto Resources. We're making it easy with discounts up to $4,150 below suggested retail on a great selection of Rath road-ready vehicles, each one hand-picked and inspected in our Meineke Car Care Center. Plus, we need trades, so we're giving up to $3,200 extra for your trade-in. Those savings really add up and make it easier than ever to trade up into something nicer and newer, even if you still owe money. If you're keeping the car you have, let us take care of it for you in our Meineke Car Care Center with free AC performance checks, half-off brakes, and buy 3, get 1 free on all tires. Better yet, declare your independence and start driving better today in a Rath road-ready vehicle from Arkansas's favorite used car dealer, Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith, or online, rathauto.com.
Requires bank approval. Negative equity may be refinanced. Offer absolutely ends by July 30th, 2021.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, a chance of some showers and scattered thunderstorms are high this afternoon, low to mid 90s. Isolated evening showers of storms, 70 to 75. And then we will see a slight chance of showers of storms, a better chance across the south in the afternoon, highs in the low to mid 90s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Listen to every Razorback football game this season right here on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com. You're listening to The Morning Rush, live from the Busch Light Studios on ESPN 95.3, KERX Paris, Fort Smith. This hour of The Morning Rush is brought to you by Farm Credit. From farms to land, livestock, equipment, and more, Farm Credit finances it all. Learn more at myaglender.com.
Some Texas A&M fans have looked at it and say it's going to be the Big 12 all over.
If it's the Big 12 all over, if things are tilted in Texas' favor, it's only because you guys bent the picture sideways. Because that's not the way things operate in the SEC. Texas does not walk in here and tilt things anywhere. They're standing on the same footing as everyone else. And from that point, what you achieve is what you earn.
Hey, this is Darren McFadden, and you're listening to The Morning Rush.
Live from the Busch Light Studios.
People who really want to have a good time won't come to a slaughterhouse. And we've got entirely too many troublemakers here.
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
I don't like you because you're dangerous. That's right. I am dangerous.
Streaming live from
hitthatline.com.
I
hit the 7-iron like John Daly hits the 3.
This is The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson.
You just gotta keep living, man.
And Tommy Kraft.
We follow orders or people die. Are we clear?
The Morning Rush starts right now.
Yes, sir.
No surprise, the Alabama picked as the winner of the Southeastern Conference by the SEC media. Georgia in second. Where do the other schools rank? Where do they have Arkansas and the others? We're going to talk about that coming up here. It's hour number 2, The Morning Rush. Going to be joined by Tom Murphy shortly. Get his take on everything that's going on with this Texas OU situation as well.
Hot Take Monday on The Morning Rush, always brought to you by Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off I-49 in Springdale. Explore our great state in a new RV from Grand Design, Forest River, KZ, Heartland, Keystone Alliance. The best brands, the best prices are always at Wheels RV, and peace of mind with a lifetime warranty on every new RV that's sold at Wheels RV. Stop in. Find out why Wheels was once again voted the best RV dealership in Northwest Arkansas. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
So the SEC East was picked like this. Georgia at 1, Florida at 2, Kentucky at 3, Missouri at 4, Tennessee at 5, South Carolina at 6, and Vanderbilt at 7. Now, you had one person picked South Carolina to win the SEC East, as you did have one person pick Arkansas to win the SEC West. That would be our own Derek Ruskin. Tell me, what's more likely to happen, the Gamecocks winning the East or the Razorbacks winning the West?
I would probably, if I was forced, lean towards the Gamecocks winning the West, but winning the East. But yeah, I don't think either scenario is very likely.
Now, on the West side of things, I was kind of pleasantly surprised to see Arkansas ranked as 6th rather than 7th. Alabama is at 1, A&M's at 2, LSU at 3, Ole Miss at 4, Auburn at 5, Arkansas at 6, and Mississippi State at 7. I was a little surprised that only one person picked the Aggies to win the SEC West.
Ruskin's vote may have been what lifted Arkansas past 7 into 6, and because of the points you get for that. But I was surprised Ole Miss was 4 and maybe not 3. I thought maybe there might have been a little more consideration because of the quarterback situation and Matt Corral, that you thought they might have finished a little higher than that. So I thought maybe Ole Miss would have been bumped a spot or 2 maybe higher.
I think, including myself, everyone in this conference is just worried about how putrid that defense is to pick them to be in that 3rd or 2nd spot, because LSU and A&M are going to have much more complete teams across the board. Now, Corral's better quarterback than Max Johnson, Miles Brennan, and Haynes Keener, that Calzaro kid. But if you don't have anything around you from a special teams or defensive standpoint, it's more defense than it is Ole Miss special teams, and I think that's a little cause for concern. Now, you've got your handy-dandy SEC schedule. I love these things, man. This is one of my favorite parts about Media Days, is getting these every single year. They got it on, what was that, like a 3x, what's the note card size of that?
I don't know. It's longer. It's probably 3 inches tall by about 8 inches, 10 inches long. But I just looked through Ole Miss's schedule this year. I don't think they can beat Alabama and Tuscaloosa. They obviously can beat Arkansas at home, in Oxford. So you think that's a winnable game? Can they beat Tennessee on the road? I think so. There's 2. Can they beat LSU at home?
They get Tennessee and Vanderbilt as their 2 East games this year. That's beneficial.
I think so. There's 3. Auburn, can they beat Auburn on the road? I think so. There's 4. I'm not saying they're going to win all these. A&M and Oxford, all right, I won't give them that. Vanderbilt, like I said, is 5, and they can beat State as 6. So I think they won't win all of those, but they could win 4 or 5 SEC games this year. There's 6 winnable, very winnable games for them. They won't win them all, that I think there's only a couple of games that would be probably A&M and, of course, Alabama that I don't think they'll have much of a chance to win.
Was a little odd to see on the first team selection that there's only one Alabama player for offense, or excuse me, two Alabama players for offense. That'd be John Mechie and Evan Neal. Typically they're flooded, but only 3 offensive starters returning for the Crimson Tide. Their defense is going to be stacked, as it always is, 8 guys coming back. But I wonder if they're going to take a step back a little bit offensively based on all the talent they've lost. You got 3 Heisman finalists, 1 Heisman winner. They've lost a lot of wide receivers these past couple years.
But a step back for them still doesn't mean – they had the ultimate team last year, which was the name of the documentary, the SEC story that came out last week. They had one of the all-time teams in a COVID year last year. So, I think there will be a step back, but their step back probably is still good enough to win the SEC West. So I think we're probably – giving Alabama too much benefit of the doubt because of their name and reputation, but they've also earned that benefit of the doubt too.
Because of the model of consistency and the transition between you go from Tua to Mac to now Bryce Young, who's the incumbent starting quarterback for this Alabama Crimson Tide team. I want to know what he does early on. Again, they have to go to Gainesville week number 3.
Yep.
So they got a little tune-up game against Mercer the week before. Miami, that's not going to be necessarily a walk in the park, but I do think Alabama probably ends up getting that game by 3 touchdowns or so. You do have to face De'Aaron King in that game, so he's got to have a spectacular performance for them to at least hold bar with the Crimson Tide that game.
Any way you would even entertain a conversation about Alabama starting 1-2 in SEC play. Florida, Ole Miss, A&M, their first 3 games. You got to go to Gainesville.
3 on the road.
Yeah, Ole Miss is the only game in Tuscaloosa. Any fun conversation there you'd like to have, or is that a 0% chance that Bama could go 1-2 on October 9th when they leave College Station? They could have a 1-2 league record.
I think the question you need to ask is what's more likely to happen, them to lose the Gators or the Aggies? Gainesville, College Station, 12th man, the Swamp, Emory Jones, Haynes Keener, Calzaro, however you say it.
I think it's more likely because of the way the schedule's set up to lose in College Station because you play Florida the week following playing Mercer at home. So essentially you have 2 weeks to get ready for Florida. It's going to be hot in Gainesville. It's going to be sticky, but Saban knows how to prepare his teams for those situations. But
no reservations about
you play A&M the week after you play Ole Miss. There's no opportunity to look ahead. But the other side of that coin is, you should be a little more of a finely tuned machine by October 9th. So if you pin me down, I'd say they're more likely to lose to A&M just because of the way the schedule's set up.
It feels like that we're just headed for another Georgia-Alabama SEC title game, which is kind of a bummer. We know that Dan Mullen had some comments about being picked below Georgia and how they end up finished, but there's no Kyle Trask that's walking through. Now, Emory Jones could have a very successful year, and we've seen Dan Mullen work miracles with quarterbacks before. Is he good enough to beat Georgia in Jacksonville, and is he good enough to contend with the Crimson Tide if they do? When they do meet in Gainesville on the 3rd week of the college football season.
Yeah, how good does your defense have to be this year to stop Alabama's offense, particularly early?
JT in Hot Springs, to your question, Tommy, said 0 chance that Bama starts in the SEC 1-2. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that just stir the pot and just make this season a lot better if Alabama somehow, some way got into a 1-2 SEC hole? Man, that would bring joy to my eyes and my heart.
Hey, celebrate summer with the new BLT Ranch Ham-Breaded Chicken Sandwich or the BLT Ranch Angus Thick Burger. It's all at Hardee's this summer. Feed your happy at Hardee's in Fort Smith, Salisal, and Northwest Arkansas, and your chance to qualify for the 16th Annual Thick Burger Eating Contest comes back tomorrow as well. It's all at Hardee's, again, Fort Smith, Salisal, and in Northwest Arkansas.
Got 2 qualifiers this week. I will be there tomorrow. Really excited about that. We had 6. My first one, really excited to see people keep qualifying for the football trip of a lifetime. All right, Tom Murphy joins us next.
Hot Take Monday is brought to you by Wheels RV, Highway 412 in Springdale, and online at wheelsrv.net.
Eagles Nest is coming in hot.
The power
Powerball jackpot from the Arkansas Scholarship Lottery is now more than...
Time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home. The Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
Do you know the difference between admission and confession? Admission is acknowledging the truth of something. Confession is a formal statement agreeing that you're guilty. Greg Allman admitted he's no angel, but that doesn't mean he confessed his guilt before God. Romans 10:10 says, one believes and is justified, and with the mouth one confesses and is saved. Confess to God that Jesus died in your guilty place, and then you'll receive His amazing grace. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Pray about it.
Make a call to the experts. With more than 30 years of combined property management experience and more than 16,000 units managed, Trinity Multifamily are the ones to call. Get your life back. Call Trinity Multifamily at 479-452-1817 or online at trinitymultifamily.com. Trinity Multifamily, your teammate in the real estate game.
Franco Furniture is your Made in the USA headquarters. For the month of July, Franco Furniture is doing no sales tax. You heard right, no sales tax on living room, dining room, and bedroom. American-made furniture, in-store no credit check financing, and service after the sale. Franco Furniture, 405 4th Street, Barling, Arkansas. Best seats in the house.
Building a home can be stressful. This is true whether you're the homeowner or the contractor. Many times these issues result in a lawsuit. If you are a homeowner or a contractor and find yourself needing legal help, call the attorneys at Kevin Hickey Law Partner. With experience representing homeowners as well as non-payment or other issues that could arise during construction. Contact Brad Hull or Kevin Hickey at 479-434-2414 in the River Valley or 479-802-6560 in Northwest Arkansas. Or check them out on the web at artriallawyers.com.
Have your travel plans changed? Looking for a place that's close to home and keep your family safe? Gaston's White River Resort is located on the beautiful White River. They offer private accommodations in their lodges and cabins. Most cabins have a fully equipped kitchen or let their restaurant staff deliver to your cabin. Call 870-431-5202 and change your plans to Gaston's White River Resort. Gaston's White River Resort, a first-class time, every time.
Head to toe, it's gotta be Jelco for hard work and the great outdoors.
It's midsummer, and now is the perfect time for hiking, fishing, shooting, canoeing, kayaking, and enjoying the great outdoors. And Jelco Outdoors has all the great gear to help you make great memories this summer. Shop local. Shop Jelco Outdoors, your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Have a safe summer from Jelco Outdoors, 4600 South Zero in Fort Smith.
Farm Credit has been a trusted friend for over 100 years. They are ag financing experts. So whether you're a longtime farmer, new to farming, or buying your dream home or land in the country, their experienced staff has a plan to fit your goals, needs, and your bottom line. From farms to land, livestock, equipment, and more, Farm Credit finances it all. Learn more at myaglender.com. Farm Credit is an equal opportunity lender.
ESPN 95.3. The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson and Tommy Kraft.
Costello going to throw on second down. Has time underneath. Intercepted. That's Brooks at the 35 to midfield. He's got a chance to go to the 30, to the 20, to the 10. Touchdown, Arkansas. Greg Brooks with a pick six, and the Hawks strike first.
I'm going to try this call-in number.
Call or text the Morning Rush at 877-377-6963.
My first official call-in.
So you got some guys and gals that are going to be honored in the 2021 UA Sports Hall of Honor class. We'll tell you who those are coming up here on the Morning Rush.
Brought to you by Riley Farm Dental at 5901 Riley Park Drive, Suite A, right at the entrance to Riley Farms, where you can go to one place and get all kinds of dental procedures done under one roof. General dentistry, your cleanings, your x-rays, your fillings, the things you need to do on a 6-month basis, plus braces, implants, cosmetics. It's all done right there. One of the reasons Dr. Brogman and Dr. Bo Sparkman have been voted top 3 best of the best every year since 2017. That's why you'll feel part of the Riley Farm Dental family the moment you walk in the door. See RileyFarmDental.com for more details about their practice. That's RileyFarmDental.com, or make an appointment with a phone call, 479-226-3500. That's 226-3500 for Riley Farm Dental.
Saw Wally Hall this past week, Tommy, and he was wearing his Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame hat. When are you going to get inducted? Has Clay been inducted? How's that work?
I know Clay is in one of the sports writers and broadcasters.
I always get confused.
I don't think Clay may be in the other one. I know Orville is. I don't think I will probably ever be in either of those halls of fame. So
just thought that was cool over the weekend. 2021, the people included Brian Wellman, men's track and field, Clint McDaniel on the national championship basketball team, George Stewart for football, Robert Farrell for football, Tiffany Woolley Moyer for softball, and then Sandy Morris for women's track and field. It's going to be at the Walden Arts Center Friday, September 17th. I've actually never been inside the Walden Arts Center. I've driven by it 1,000 times.
I've been in there a few times. My oldest daughter had a band concert in there one time. So yeah, I've been
now that's where the outdoor is it outdoor or indoor basketball going to be?
That court they're getting ready to build. Yeah,
that they're spending a good chunk of millions of dollars on, right? Or is it?
Yep.
Is it that much? Was that much?
It's like $3 million, or something like that.
I remember the grant we were talking about last week. Speaking of spending money, a recruit is buying that billboard, drive south on Interstate 49.
Back up. His parents are buying it.
His parents buying it. Yeah, 13 years old. I don't think he could. I don't think he could afford that.
Right.
Just
he's got a heck of an allowance. One or the other.
How much do you think they're paying for that?
I don't know. I would think a few grand a month, right? Or dad's in that business. Dad or mom's in that business, perhaps. Yeah, those aren't cheap because it's right on I-49, right? So, yeah, several thousand a month.
Jack McWhorter, or Bear McWhorter, excuse me, is the young man, 13 years old.
All those digital boards that rotate. So, I mean, those rotations on there they're thousands, not hundreds.
Tax deductible?
I don't know.
Mike Florio's come out and said that Aaron Rodgers wants $90 million guaranteed over the next 2 years. That would be nice to at least be in that feasible category. With Aaron Rodgers, we're getting ready. We still haven't figured out our red zone situation for football this year. We got red zone on one TV and the others. So here's how it went last year, Tommy, in our household. We've got one of my roommates is a giant Dallas Cowboys fan. The other one is a giant Baltimore Ravens fan. And then we have people that come over that are Kansas City Chiefs fans and San Diego Chargers fans and Jacksonville Jaguars. Last year, I allowed my TV to be on whatever it wanted. And this year, I told them, I was very up for it. I was front. I was like, this is going to be on the Packers every single time they play this year. Mm-hmm. It's
with or without Rodgers?
With or without Rodgers. Okay. I will suffer through regardless. Mm-hmm. And they were like taken aback that I wanted to watch something on my own TV because they thought they had the rights to it. Well,
they're sharing their TVs with you, so you should share your TV with them.
We have three TVs in our living room. One is hooked up to the crappy satellite that's hanging like on our wall, whatever the free satellite. Then we have one that has that's Colton's TV. The other is my TV. Right. So again, that's the only thing I never bicker about whatever goes on my TV, but I just told them this is how it's going this fall. It will be on the Packers, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, we can't have NFL Sundays over. It's too stinking bad." That's part of it. I was very
because you've been a fan for about 18 minutes now.
There's multiple pictures of me as a kid in Packers jerseys. I'm just back on the band. Brett Good's really excited about that, and I was a little bummed though. I was looking at, speaking of Wisconsin, Tommy, the bye week for Arkansas is Halloween weekend. And my thought was to go up to Madison to see Wisconsin take on Iowa. I got a buddy that lives there, stay there. You know what flights are from Fort Smith to Madison, Wisconsin?
I have no idea.
$1,600. So I texted him yesterday driving home, said, this is not going to work, unfortunately. Yeah. Really bummed about that. All right, let's go to the phone lines before we welcome in Brett and welcome in Randy in Fort Smith. He's got a comment on the Texas OU stuff this morning. Randy, go ahead, man. You're on the Morning Rush.
Hey, guys. At first, I kind of was against it because I have a lot of friend enemies from Oklahoma who constantly are badgering me. But I've changed my mind because we've had the number one toughest schedule in the country the last 2 years. And if you go down the schedule, how can our schedule get any worse than it is? And then you look at it like this, it may open up some grounds in Texas to where we'll get some highly rated 3 stars or 4 stars that just don't want to go to Texas or A&M or Oklahoma. So I don't think it's a detriment because until we start winning games, it's not really going to matter anyway. And unless they up recruiting, which I think Pittman's doing okay in recruiting, but he's got to win some games to get to make a step up. And then, in my opinion, this whole season, we've got 19 starters returning. If we don't make a move this season, when will we be able to make one? And unfortunately, man, a lot of it is going to be on KJ Jefferson and Malik Hornsby. We need one of those guys to be our version of Johnny Manziel to lift us out of where we're at right now. But bring on Oklahoma and Texas. It'll be brutal in my life. I'll be arguing with Oklahoma fans, but I do anyway. So, my opinion, bring them on.
So, Brandy, before we let you go, buddy, you speak of making a move this year. What is making a move in a win-loss record to you?
Got to get, in my opinion, got to get to 7 wins and a bowl game.
Okay.
And then I think if you look at the schedule, honestly, if KJ is, and I don't know, I've watched that Missouri game over a couple times, and I mean, I honestly have a lot of faith in KJ because he's a leader, and that team actually believes in him. And one thing that really impressed me is even though he played really, really well, if you go back and look, he sat on that bench after that loss. You know what I mean? It really, really meant something to him. And so he wasn't, a lot of times guys will be like, oh, well, I played, having been around sports my whole life, it's like a lot of times a person will be like, oh, well, I played great, but he really had a feeling for the team, which, that's important if you play football, that your leader, really, but he sat on that bench and was really devastated that we lost. And so I actually think he's going to be really good. He has to be more accurate in his passing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he will. I pray he will. And then I hope they let Hornsby play a little bit to really show his running ability. If he's, if KJ has a great season, I believe we can win 7 and possibly win 8. Now, I'm not sitting here predicting 10 wins, but if you look at the schedule, it's just so tough.
Well,
7 wins to me would be a great season.
I think a lot of people would be really happy with 7 wins. We appreciate your call. If you want to get to 7 wins, you got to beat Texas week 2. If you think that Arkansas is going to get 7 wins, I'm in the line of 6. I'd love to see 7. We'll have to wait and see. Another guy in the know is our buddy Tom Murphy, who now joins us this morning. Tom, it was fun to catch up at SEC Media Days. I thought you asked some good questions, not just to Sam Pittman, but across the board last week. But really the headlines were stolen from Brent Zwernerman of the Houston Chronicle as he broke the news about Texas and Oklahoma, and we've seen a flurry of stuff happen since then. Tom, what pros and cons do you associate Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC and what it could do and what it could hurt Arkansas football?
Yeah, well, good morning, everybody. If I'm Arkansas, I've said it before, I did not think adding A&M and Missouri to the league was good for Arkansas, and I think the results have borne that out in football at least. And it's the same here. I mean, it just makes you're very likely to be put into a division or a pod with both of these teams, I would think, or at least Oklahoma. I don't know, but it's first of all, you could recruit in Texas before A&M got in the league, and LSU could, and Bama and so on. But you want to play SEC football, you got to come to one of our schools. But then A&M came in, and that was the end of that. And Arkansas has recruited very well in Oklahoma, and particularly just had a really good season recruiting Oklahoma. And if the Sooners are in the league, then there goes that line. So it just makes recruiting much more competitive, and obviously competing on the field. will be tougher because these are programs that put so much into the sport, their facilities, and so on. So it wouldn't take them long to kind of get into the SEC groove of things, and because it appears as if the playoff is going to expand to 12 teams, those schools see an easier route and more money by joining the SEC.
Tom, if you're Bob Bowlesby, who's the commissioner of the Big 12, what is your next move after this news broke this weekend?
Well, I'm glad I'm not that commissioner because it's a tough deal.
Apply for a job with Greg Sankey. That's your move.
Yeah. It's just and I saw some stuff today, like, do they try to raid the Pac-12? The dominoes are going to keep going, and I just don't know if it's good for the long-term, relationships, the health of college football. Perhaps the big schools are all at some point going to break off, and there'll be like a different quote pay scale, different NIL things that those schools, the athletes that those schools can get. But I don't know. It just doesn't seem to bode well for those schools. Their next TV deal probably won't be as lucrative if all this takes place. So I guess we're headed toward 4 mega conferences and potential breakaway by the biggest schools.
Yeah, you see all these tweets, and everyone's got a source in the league office, and all these things about 20 to 24 other schools have reached out, and the league's entertaining the idea of expanding beyond that. I don't know how much truth is in some of those reports, but at what point do you cease to be a conference and you become an association? Is it 16? Is it 18? Is it 20? At what point is it no longer just a conference anymore, Tom?
Yeah, when you get to 16, if you get to 16, then you're barely hanging on to what I would consider the definition of a conference. And if you go beyond that, then yeah, it is. It's an association. How do you even start playing? Mm-hmm. How do you judge a fair conference schedule at that point? Play the 3 members in your own pod and 1 each from the other 3 pods and 2 more random games. It's just bizarre, and they're going to get if this happens, and it looks like it will, there will be a very, very lucrative TV deal coming up for the SEC, and they'll be the one who struck first. They'll be the one who started to reshape college football. And I do believe a part of this is Greg Sankey and the conference's frustration with the NCAA at not doing the things they're supposed to do. It's a huge organization, and they're backed up with their infraction cases. They don't seem to have any teeth when it comes to some of the infraction stuff, and they were on the wrong side of the NIL by a 9-0 Supreme Court margin. So I think it's more about we'll just start to play by our own rules at some point. And this is a huge step in that direction.
My brain works in a way. I like clean. I like balance. I like those things. To me, there's 65 teams, counting Notre Dame, that are kind of the Power 5. 4 16-team conferences provide geographic balance, provide power balance. I don't think it's good for the SEC to outweigh the other leagues, nor would it be good for any of the other leagues to be the same way. To me, it seems like the Big 12 gets gobbled up. I don't know who the 65th team is that doesn't make the cut. It won't be Notre Dame, of course, but to me, it's clean if you had 4 16-team leagues, and then those Power 4 could become its own division, its own entity, or set its own course and its own rules moving forward, particularly regarding football. To me, that seems logical and has a lot of common sense, or it makes sense to me, Tom, but oftentimes common sense doesn't always rise to the top in these conversations.
No, it doesn't, and I agree with you. There's a certain balance to that. You're, like you say, clean. 16 times 4 is 64. Mm-hmm. But I think Rutgers would be your 65th. By the way,
yeah,
that's just me. But I don't know. It's just like, is that really going to happen? It makes sense, but we had a Big 12 that had 10 teams in it for the last decade or so. We had a Big 10 that doesn't have 10 teams. So I don't know what the end result's going to be, but it's just it's like chaos theory. Let's just keep doing these strange things. I loved the 12. I love the 6 and 6. You got to play your own, 5 in your own and 3 in the other, so half the other division.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it made a lot of sense to me. But 9 years ago, it felt like, well, everybody's reorganizing and all these conferences are expanding, so we're going to do it too. And it was great for A&M in Missouri. And I guess the SEC got a better TV deal out of it, but I don't know how you rein it all in. And these guys have they're playing three-dimensional chess or something, and I'm just looking at old school chess.
So there's these reports of 20 or 24 additional schools reaching out. Obviously, the league isn't going to consider every one of those calls, but who would be the one or two calls? To me, Notre Dame's the first call you've got to consider if they said, hey, we jump ship on the ACC and come to the SEC in a heartbeat, along with Texas and Oklahoma. Who would be on that list for you that if you're Greg Sankey, if you're sitting next to him, you're now his senior associate commissioner, Tom, who are those one or two other schools that, hey, we've got to take this call, Greg? These are schools that got to be our 17th and 18th schools in expansion.
Well, back in the old day, and I've read a ton of stuff on this, but apparently South Carolina has veto power to block Clemson. That would be a good program to add to your conference. Florida State. Well, Florida supposedly has veto power to block Florida State because Florida is the lone school in the SEC in Florida. Well, A&M, I guess, thought they had it for Texas. But to me, those two schools make the most sense. But so you're really going to, go to 18 and create all this division and disharmony and all these other conferences and we'll just leave them scrambling. I don't like the idea of it. So my suggestion would be, hey, let's subtract the 2 we added in 2012 and put it back down to 12, although that's not going to happen.
Do geography even matter at this point? Because I think Notre Dame, but if you add Notre Dame, it's way up in South Bend, Indiana, Clemson, Southeastern Conference, that fits. But with Greg Sankey and his team, Tom, looking at this moving forward, the potential, the prospect of adding schools, does it matter?
Not really. I mean, West Virginia was in the Big 12. I think TCU a few years ago was in some conference like Conference USA or
Mountain West.
I don't even remember, Big East. It was a weird deal and got rectified pretty soon. But anyway, no, it does not matter. And who knows? Ohio State wouldn't mind breaking off and trying to play with the big boys down here because, they belong. They clearly have shown they make the playoffs a lot and they've beaten SEC teams. So, no, the geography of it all doesn't matter. And we're going to wind up with big mega conferences, and it's going to be a new era coming soon.
I did see the report that apparently the schools knew everyone except for Texas A&M. What I want to know, if this has been going on for 6 months, I think it was Kirk Bowles of the Austin American-Statesman that reported that. How did they keep it quiet for 6 months? How did no one come out with this until that if that is indeed the case? Tom, how did they keep it under wraps that long?
That's pretty crazy. The word had to be limited at each school, to a very select handful of people at each of the schools. And apparently today was going to be the day, right? The Texas A&M and Oklahoma delivered their letters of resignation to the conference, which would have been an absolute bombshell. It was bombshell enough in Hoover, the way it was reported, but if it had been the way that people are reporting, there would have been a point today where everyone would have just been aghast that had happened. Yeah. So I don't know how it's all going to shake out. I do think that the leak, so to speak, last Wednesday in Hoover was probably a good thing because it allowed a lot of discussion, and they might not like it, the officials, but if A&M was going to rally any support to trying to block that, they had a few days now, and the Big 12 got to have their discussions at the end of last week about what's our next step, and I think in the next 2 weeks we're going to start to see the picture clear up a little bit, and it's going to be wild.
Well, I, for one, am all for OU and Texas coming on board, 2 8-team divisions, 9-game schedules, and I'll trade a game every year with OU and Texas to shift Alabama and Auburn to the east, and I think it would make our jobs infinitely more interesting to have OU and Texas every year on the football schedule.
That is a clean look, Tommy. The 2-8 teams, yeah.
Bring Missouri over, use basically the Missouri schools, and split everything else west of the Mississippi. And I think it's a fun conference. You play 2 teams from the East every year and play 9 games, and I think you've got a fun, balanced conference at that point where you play everybody in about a 4-year rotation.
Yeah, if this is going to happen, I like that one rather than the 4-team pods, just because of it's cleaner to bring Missouri over. Yeah. You're right, and just add the other 2 to the west and put Alabama and Auburn back over to the other side, and hey, let's roll.
And all the natural rivals stay intact. Alabama, Tennessee, Florida, Georgia, all the the Iron Bowl, the Egg Bowl, Texas, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, all Alabama. Ole Miss, LSU, all the big ones. Of course, the Battle Line rivalry, all the big ones. Stay
Same
intact.
Breath. You just mentioned that.
Stay intact. So going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure we'll be talking about it for weeks to come. Tom, have a great Monday, and we'll catch up Thursday.
Sounds great, guys. Enjoy talking. See you.
Hot Take Monday brought to you by Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off I-49 in Springdale. The best brands, the best prices, and lifetime warranties on every new unit they sell. Also ask about their rental program. Great for this fall. They've got a lot of bookings for summer, but hey, if you're looking for some fall camping in an RV, they can help you out at Wheels RV. 5 miles west of exit 72 off I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
We're going to open up the what team would you want to add conversation. Save that for the 8 o'clock hour because we're coming up against it. We're going to get into our hog update coming up as well. I was looking through the list of holidays today outside of it being National Tofu Day, which I don't know how much of our audience has had tofu. Have you had tofu before?
Not on purpose.
I've never had it. It's Aunt and Uncle's Day. Have you ever heard of the Aunt and Uncle's holiday?
No, but I saw one of my aunts and uncles yesterday.
Did you?
Uncle Rich and Aunt Cheryl. Got to see them for a minute.
You gonna text them Happy Aunt and Uncle's Day?
I was not aware then. I bet they weren't aware either that it was Aunt and Uncle Day. So
I will see my.
Well, I guess I can do that. They probably aren't aware this morning.
I will. I talked to my aunt yesterday, the Oklahoma State fan. She sent me about 30 texts about how angry she is right now with the Big 12. Essentially collapsing. I'm going to see my other aunt and uncle in Dallas next week, and I'm excited about that. Very underrated part of the family, aunt and uncles. If you have a cool aunt and uncle,
so they're like secondary grandparents at times.
My aunt's favorite thing, Aunt Steph. My favorite thing that Aunt Steph used to do, she bought me sweaters for Christmas every year. Now I love sweaters now. But as a kid at the time, I hated them. So she did that every year as a gag, and it was quite entertaining to see me open the box and my eyes just kind of shake my head.
One of my favorite things to do with my Uncle Rich is to go fishing, and we go up to the North Fork a lot. Speaking of fishing, we need to take him over to Gaston's. We've not fished on the White River. He would absolutely love that trip to go below the Bull Shoals Dam. Because we both really enjoy trout fishing there at our place on the North Fork. So maybe soon I'll get him to Gaston's. It's always a great family time when you go to Gaston's, and aunts and uncles and your whole family can gather. That's a cool thing about Gaston's is they've got accommodations for those family reunions. In the summertime, the pool is open from Memorial Day to Labor Day, so the kids can go to the pool while Dad and the uncles and everybody's maybe on the river. They doing that. They've got setups where the family can gather and cook steaks and burgers and dogs and stuff together. So that's a great place to have family reunions and get-togethers and see family you haven't seen in a while is at Gaston's. Think about that the next time you're going to get your family together is Gaston's White River Resort. Call and get the details. 870-431-5202. Gaston's White River Resort. A first-class time every time.
Hot Take Monday is brought to you by Wheels RV, Highway 412 in Springdale, and online at wheelsrv.net.
Hey, it was BYOG, bring your own guts.
Welcome to Toyota's National Sales Event.
Thanks, Jen. I've been waiting to get a great deal on a new Toyota all year.
Great deals are kind of our thing. Right now, we've got exciting offers on our lineup of 2021s, like Camry, Corolla, RAV4, Tacoma.
Wait, look at that Highlander. Jen, do you mind watching Chance?
Okay. Listen, Chance, I run a tight ship around here, so I don't want any funny business. Aw, who's a good boy? Toyota's National Sales Event is on, but these offers won't last long. Visit your participating Toyota dealer today. No, Chance, that's a display. It's not real grass.
get $750 customer cash, or qualified lessees can lease a new 2021 Highlander L for only $279 a month for 36 months with $29.99 due at signing. Toyota, let's go places. Offers available in select states and end 8/2/21. Visit Toyota.com for details. Offers are subject to change throughout Toyota's national sales event, which ends on September 7th.
The bloodline of any modern business is their computer network, data storage, and supporting hardware. So who takes care of one of the most important aspects of your business? Hashtag Managed IT Services in Van Buren can handle all your networking services like cabling, firewall, routers, and VPNs to hardware and software protection from virus and malware. Hashtag Managed IT Services in Van Buren. 479-802-4978. That's 479-802-4978. Hashtag Technology without the headache.
Did you know that you can get your car serviced or repaired without ever leaving your house? All you have to do is call Jody's Auto Service Center at 479-649-3399. Jody's will pick up your vehicle, service or repair it for you, and return it fully disinfected to your driveway. Pickup and delivery is free for jobs $75 or more. Jobs less than $75 can be picked up and returned for a $10 fee. Let Jody's Auto Service Centers handle all your service and vehicle repair needs. Call 479-649-3399. Jody's Auto Service Center.
To some, that may just sound like ice hitting heavy-duty plastic. But to a Bud Light legend, it's a signal that says it's time. Time to dust off the barbecue tongs and load up the cooler with 37 Bud Lights and an assortment of dips. Because it's time to take back all the fun we've missed. Welcome back, Bud Light legends. Let's take summer by the coolers. Cooler up at BudLightLegends.com. Enjoy responsibly. 2021 AB Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Do you remember the joy you felt as a kid about pizza night? Remember how good it smelled? You could taste it even before you opened the box. And then, that first bite. It was so good. Be the supper time savior. Order Jim's Razorback Pizza now. 434-3456. The best pizza in Fort Smith, or it's free.
Jim's Razorback Pizza!
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging. Would printing from your phone or tablet make your life easier? Are you emailing files to yourself so that you can print them from your desktop or laptop? The Xerox VersaLink and AltaLink lines of network printers and multifunction printers will natively print using your phone's built-in capabilities. Apple AirPrint and Google Cloud Printing just work. To order yours today, give us a call at 783-6600 or visit dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing document innovations to the River Valley.
After I drop the kids off, I have to run across town for a meeting, hit the gym during lunch, Jake has soccer tonight, and Emily has gymnastics? Oh, did I turn on the crock pot this morning?
With a never-ending to-do list, it's easy to forget something important, like setting up a life insurance plan with Shelter Insurance. Your local Shelter agent can show you how to create a safety net for your family. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Ask Wade Gilkey in Fort Smith about Shelter's home insurance.
Hi, folks. Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center. Are you feeling trapped making payments on a car you don't like? It's time to declare your independence and get into something nicer and newer today at Rath Auto Resources. We're making it easy with discounts up to $4,150 below suggested retail on a great selection of Rath road-ready vehicles, each one hand-picked and inspected in our Meineke Car Care Center. Plus, we need trades, so we're giving up to $3,200 extra for your trade-in. Those savings really add up and make it easier than ever to trade up into something nicer and newer, even if you still owe money. If you're keeping the car you have, let us take care of it for you in our Meineke Car Care Center with free AC performance checks, half-off brakes, and buy 3, get 1 free on all tires. Better yet, declare your independence and start driving better today in a Rath road-ready vehicle from Arkansas's favorite used car dealer, Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith, or online, rathauto.com.
Requires bank approval. Negative equity may be refinanced. Offer absolutely ends by July 30th, 2021.
ESPN 95.3.
Arkansas football. It's the players running through the A. Hog hats. It's more than 70,000 fans calling Woo Pig Suey.
Yes, sir.
Guys, I've got just one thing I want to say to you. Touchdown, Arkansas!
Arkansas wins the national championship! The Arkansas Razorbacks have completed the dream season!
This is your Hog Update on the Morning Rush. Brought to you by Mr. Sparky. Need a licensed electrician to service your home? For one of their local pros, call 888-8-SPARKY.
So you got Ricky Stromberg, who has found himself on the Remington Trophy watch list. Traylon Burks is a part of the Blitnikoff list, and there's some guys on the Maxwell too. You're going to see a lot of, I think, guys. Hopefully, Traylon Burks will be a finalist. And heck, maybe he can even win the whole stinking thing. But don't be surprised if he ends up as a semi and eventually a finalist. But, Tommy, you like seeing stuff like this because it means that hopefully the Sam Pittman effect is rubbing off on some offensive linemen like a Ricky Stromberg, like a Myron Cunningham, and hopefully a couple more guys on that front five.
Yeah, and I think when you're a returning starter on a Power 5 team, you got a good chance of being on the watch list. Now, I think in order to win these awards, Arkansas is going to have to probably have at least 7 and probably 8 wins to get good consideration on many of these awards. They don't generally have a lot of award winners on teams with 6-6 records or below 500 records. So, I mean, I think 7's probably even pushing it. So you better have some wins in order to see some of the hard work come home in December.
So on the note of being a hog update, NBA draft Thursday at 7. We got that right here, ESPN Arkansas. Do we have it on hitthatline.com as well? Okay,
yes.
So we've got it all right here. Moses Moody, the Arkansas basketball, has done a really good job of promoting him as of late. He's projected top 10, top 15 on basically every mock draft I've seen. Now, we know that sometimes mock drafts are incorrect or they're off, but don't be surprised if his name gets called really early. Now, the Thunder, their second pick in the first round, is either at 16 or 18. From a selfish personal standpoint, I hope he drops to that because I don't think they're going to draft him as high as 6 where they're slated for their first pick. But I'm curious, you asked a good question a week or so ago. How many Arkansas fans that don't necessarily love the NBA will tune into the draft just to see where because I'll be locked in because not just Moses, but Cade Cunningham and so many other players that I enjoyed watching in college basketball this year, where they're going to end up. I know that we've got a whole draft thing planned at our house this Thursday, but how many people are going to be locked in Arkansas fan-wise just to see where our guy Moses Moody ends up?
I think as we talk more about it on social media and as we talk more about it here on the radio, I think there will be a few that pay attention because – as you said, top 10 pick, you don't have to invest your whole night. You don't have to watch, all 60 picks to figure it out.
Maybe 45 minutes?
Yeah, I think you'd give an hour. And what else is really on at this point? So I think if you're looking at something to do, I think it interests you, particularly fans under the age of 40. So I think, our audience that's 40 or less, I think is a lot more likely to watch this thing on Thursday night.
I really enjoyed the NBA Finals. I know that a lot of people were worried because it didn't have the stars or the marquee teams they were used to, but seeing some of these young guys like a Devin Booker, like a Giannis Antetokounmpo, and these guys perform, it was really enjoyable. And it was most enjoyable to me to see Bobby Portis get the name recognition. I know he had a lot of fun during the ceremony and the presentation and the parade in Milwaukee this past week. Some SEC, all SEC guys, we're talking about Ricky Stromberg. He's a part of the second team list along with Grant Morgan and Jalen Catalon. Burks gets the first team, and then Myron Cunningham gets the third. Bama had 16 guys, Tommy. 16 guys.
Well, they recruit well, and they get the benefit of the doubt, and they recruit good players. So you'd expect them to have more than that, honestly. So.
Yeah, way it goes. Hudson Henry has been tabbed to the John Mackey Award watch list. This is given to the best tight end in college football. So you got him, you got Kern, and I'm forgetting what's that guy's name? I'm blanking on for a sec. But the tight end is something that I know
Nathan Bax. Is that the name you're looking for?
And maybe that's something that Kendall Briles.
That's who Clay has as number 3 on his post-spring depth chart. Hudson Henry, Blake Kern, Nathan Bax.
It'll be good to have Clay back in here tomorrow. I know that he'll have a take on this whole Texas news that broke this
you
past
think he'll
week.
have an opinion?
Just a little bit of an opinion. So I'm really excited to welcome back in Clay. We got a loaded guest show this week. Ivan Maisel, a longtime ESPN writer, is going to be joining us. He's now going to be with On 3 Sports. He's tomorrow at 8. And then we've got Brad Kellner, who does sports radio down in Austin, Texas. He'll be joining us on Wednesday because I want to get a national perspective and a local perspective of the potential of Texas and Oklahoma. I mean, is it just going to happen? Do you think, Tommy? I
think there's no denials out there from any principals, and I think it's inevitable that OU and Texas. The question I think that has most substance and gravity to it at this point is there anyone besides Texas and OU that will get an invite to join the league in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
And we'll save that conversation for the 8 o'clock hour, but that is your Hog Update, and it's brought to you by Mr. Sparky.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
I'm trying to find out a scenario where Alabama doesn't fulfill the media's expectations as the number one team in this conference this year, not just in the West, but overall. And I hope that Bryce Young gets too bushy-eyed or whatever the term is, and he
bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in Gainesville, week number 3. Now, they do play Mercer, tune-up game the week before, and as you brought up earlier in the program, they can just kind of game plan for Florida. I know that they won't say they're game planning for Florida, but they can look ahead to the Gators at that point. With that being said, you take on Florida, Ole Miss.
By the way, Florida has South Florida the week before.
Okay.
A little step up from Mercer, but they're playing them in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
So
you got Florida followed by Southern Miss, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M. Bryce Young has yet to start an SEC football game. Is there anything in the back of your mind that could tell you that somehow, some way, he doesn't live up to the expectations that people have placed upon him, and they falter and they fall in one of those games, and then that changes the dynamic of their season moving forward? Not to say they still couldn't win a national championship, because we've seen Alabama fall in the regular season, and then at the end of the day, they're still the ones holding up the trophy. But I'm getting Alabama fatigue like everyone else is.
Well, but that doesn't mean they're not going to be really good. But
Correct.
Generally, if you're going to be below their normal standard at quarterback, then you're going to be Heisman Trophy level at running back, or you're going to be, or the defense is going to allow 12 points per game, or something of that nature. And I don't know that Alabama's going to be that good at running back, or if John Mechie's going to be I think there's going to be a definite drop off at wide receiver. He's not going to be Devontae Smith. So I think Alabama does take a clear step back, but the question is, was their step ahead or their 2 steps last year such a gap? Their step back this year is still, noticeably better than everyone else. And I think the answer to that is yes. They're not as good as last year, but they're still better than the rest, at least in the SEC. I don't know if they win the national title. Clemson's obviously and Ohio State are going to have something to say about that, and throw Oklahoma into that conversation as well. But those always are the teams that seem to be lurking around the college football playoff. And then there'll be a surprise team that kind of gets in the mix. But Alabama, I just can't envision them not at least being in the mix for the college football playoff. And we've seen them be in the college football playoff without winning the West before.
I don't know what Auburn's going to look like this year. I'm not too high on them, but you do play Alabama the week before they play Auburn. Maybe they'll be looking ahead to the Iron Bowl, which is an away game this year, but don't count on it. I'm just looking for scenarios where they can.
You're hoping.
I'm hoping.
You're hoping.
Rather than expecting, hoping. But I'm just, like everyone else, it seems like out there, I'm getting sick and tired of seeing Nick Saban hold up that trophy.
I wouldn't make a plan for Alabama to be bad. I mean, if that's your plan, as you're planning on Alabama to be bad, I think
it's a bad plan.
You're wishing that you're hoping Alabama will be off, but I think their off game is still maybe 11-1, 10-2 at worst. And I just don't even see them going 10-2, honestly.
Make sure you're subscribing to our Hit That Line podcast network. Just search Hit That Line. Wherever you listen to podcasts, all our stuff is also between halftime and the morning rush. It's on Facebook, it's on YouTube, it's on Twitter and Twitch. ESPN Arkansas, hitthatline.com is where you can find all of our stuff. All right, coming up, what team would you want to the ad of the SEC? We'll answer that
next. Wheels RV in Springdale wants you to seek out all the Natural State has to offer this year. Explore Arkansas in a new RV from Grand Design, Forest River, KZ, Heartland, Keystone, or Alliance. All the best brands at the best prices. Enjoy peace of mind with our lifetime warranty on every new RV and a mobile service shuttle to keep you camping. So come on in and discover why Wheels RV was voted the best RV dealership in Northwest Arkansas. 5 miles west of I-49, exit 72. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
It's time to say goodbye to contacts, glasses, or bifocals with LASIK or clear lens exchange by Volvision in Northwest Arkansas. Mention ESPN for $500 off your LASIK or clear lens exchange procedure. A quick 15-minute procedure, easy 24-hour recovery no matter your age. Freedom from contacts and glasses is an option for you. Volvision, the official eye care providers of the Arkansas Razorbacks. Go Hogs! Discount cannot be combined with other offers or discounts.
At any of the Clay Maxey companies, it's just an easy, customer-centered experience. We wanted to make it a one-stop shop, so we added Kawasaki and Can-Am and Hustler and Worldline. It's really been a nice add for us. We provide full service. We're doing pickup and delivery. We were able to add the Vexus line, which is a premier bass boat line. We want to make it easy. We want you to visit us at any of the Clay Maxey companies, Clay Maxey Ford and Harrison, Berryville, Motorsports, Marine, or Clay Maxey NWA.
Tommy Kraft here for The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building your next fence. The Fence Man recently built new gates for my existing fence. The whole process was easy, quick, and most importantly, affordable. Plus, 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available with The Fence Man. If you need a new fence, gate, or anything that involves a fence, call The Fence Man, 479-782-3936. That's 782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
At Ashley Air, keeping your home comfortable is what we do best. We're confident you'll make the right decision when trusting us with your AC cooling needs. For only $69, one of our technicians will make sure your AC cools when it matters the most. Our technicians specialize in keeping AC systems operating at peak capacity 24/7. Call us today so you can enjoy peace of mind knowing you'll stay cool and comfortable all summer.
AshleyAir.com. The Golf Nut has been Fort Smith's #1 golf shop since 1994. They've carried the best brands in golf with the best pricing available. The Golf Nut has a great selection of demo clubs in stock. Titleist Vokey wedges have finally arrived. Stop in and get yours now while you can. The Golf Nut has a wide selection of shoes, apparel, and accessories. Everything you need for the everyday golfer. The driving range is open, or take advantage of the climate-controlled TrackMan simulation bays inside. As always, check Facebook for daily specials. The Golf Nut, 5121 Towson Avenue in Fort Smith.
When you want beer, you go to a bar. When you want top shelf spirits, wines, handcrafted cocktails, and cigars, in an atmosphere benefiting a destination, you go to 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Try our new menu items including fish and chips, classic club sandwiches, Caesar and Cobb salads, or stick to your favorites, dine in or carry out. Enjoy our state-of-the-art air filtration system. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge, defining nightlife in downtown Fort Smith. Doors open at 4 Tuesday through Saturday.
Farm Credit has been a trusted friend for over 100 years. They are ag financing experts. So whether you're a longtime farmer, new to farming, or buying your dream home or land in the country, their experienced staff has a plan to fit your goals, needs, and your bottom line. From farms to land, livestock, equipment, and more, Farm Credit finances it all. Learn more at myaglender.com. Farm Credit is an equal opportunity lender.
Franco Furniture is your Made in the USA headquarters. For the month of July, Franco Furniture is doing no sales tax. You heard right, no sales tax on living room, dining room, and bedroom. American-made furniture, in-store no credit check financing, and service after the sale. Franco Furniture, 405 4th Street, Barling, Arkansas. Best seats in the house.
This is Bruce Stanton, Vice President and General Manager of Pradco Fishing in Fort Smith. Our #1 volume lure out of our 20 fishing brands is the Bobby Garland Baby Shad. We make them by the millions in our facility in Fort Smith, and the Baby Shad is without a doubt the #1 soft plastic crappie lure in the U.S. Fish it on a light jig head or underneath a float, and you'll find it's as productive as live bait. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle stores all over the place. The Bobby Garland Baby Shad.
Riley Farm Dental, at the entrance to Riley Farms, provides every type of dental care and procedures for you and your family. From general dentistry, braces, implants, and cosmetics, Dr. Bo Sparkman and Dr. Brogan give all of their patients better lives with a better smile, more confidence, and a comfortable experience every time. Riley Farm Dental, 5901 Riley Park Drive, Suite A, at the entrance to Riley Farms. Call 226-3500 for an appointment or visit RileyFarmDental.com.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, a chance of some showers and scattered thunderstorms are high this afternoon, low to mid 90s. Isolated evening showers of storms, 70 to 75. And then we will see a slight chance of showers of storms, a better chance across the south in the afternoon, highs in the low to mid 90s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Listen to Halftime with Phil Elson, Matty T, and Drew Barrett. Weekdays from 11 to 1. You're listening to The Morning Rush, live from the Busch Light Studios on ESPN 95.3, KERX Paris Fort Smith. This hour of The Morning Rush is brought to you by The Fenceman. For custom-built fences, gates, and controlled access systems, call The Fenceman at 479-782-3936. The Fenceman, he ain't afraid of no work.
Some Texas A&M fans have looked at it and say it's going to be the Big 12 all over. If it's the Big 12 all over, if things are tilted in Texas' favor, it's only because you guys bent the picture sideways. Because that's not the way things operate in the SEC. Texas does not walk in here and tilt things anywhere. They're standing on the same footing as everyone else. And from that point, what you achieve is what you earn.
Hey, this is Darren McFadden, and you're listening to The Morning Rush.
Live from the Busch Light Studios.
People who really want to have a good time won't come to a slaughterhouse. And we've got entirely too many troublemakers here.
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
I don't like you because you're dangerous. That's right. I am dangerous.
Streaming live from
hitthatline.com.
I hit the 7-iron like John Daly hits the 3.
This is The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson.
You just gotta keep living, man.
And Tommy Kraft.
We follow orders or people die. Are we clear?
The Morning Rush starts right now.
Yes, sir.
Tommy asked a good question earlier this morning as we get into hour number 3 of the Morning Rush. You heard Josh Pate of 24/7 Sports at the top of our open talking about when Texas joins this league, and it looks like there's a pretty big probability of that happening. They're not getting what they think is their fair share. They're actually going to get their fair share of this conference. Outside of Texas and Oklahoma, if you had your druthers, if you had your choice of adding a team or two to this league, who would it be? We'll get to that and answer it coming up here on the Morning Rush.
Yeah, what's your take? It's Hot Take Monday on the Morning Rush, brought to you by Wheels RV, 5 miles west of Exit 72, right under the water tower in Tawnytown. You can't miss it when you go by Wheels. They've been in business for more than 20 years. Lee J. Ferris and Chris Owens are the new owners there and dedicated to giving you a great experience and great customer service, great service after the sale, great brands like Grand Design, Forest River, Vibe, KZ, Sportsman. They've got them all right there. Factory trained and certified technicians to get your RV on the road, keep it on the road as well, and top dollar for your trade-in as well. It's all at Wheels RV, 5 miles west of Exit 72 off I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
Now, Tom brought it up earlier, and if he get a chance to listen to the interview, it'll be in the Bud Light Seltzer Morning Rush podcast. But I think is it Kentucky, Florida, South Carolina? There might be one other school that they'll vote against the idea of anyone else joining their league within their own state. So Clemson has been suggested, Florida State, Miami, and Georgia. It's Georgia. That was the other team I'm thinking. Georgia Tech. That's a couple of Allen, Fort Smith, Breezy, and Little Flock, and a few others this morning. Now, it has to be, Tommy, it's 75% admittance voting, correct? So if they added Tech.
But it's always been unanimous in the past, and there's not a ton of history on expansion because doesn't happen often, but at least publicly, it's always been a unanimous vote.
Okay, and that's Drew. You brought this up publicly. It might be 14-0 to vote OU in Texas, but I think Ross Bjork, who's the former Ole Miss athletic director now at Texas A&M, they've been pretty.
I think this one's 13-1.
Yeah, I think they're pretty emphatic that they do not want joining this league. I heard it put perfectly. I think it was Brandon Walker that said this. This is like when you're getting bullied at a school, you move, and then the county redistricts the school, and you're having to go back to the school with the same bully that you tried to leave in the first place, which is the Texas Longhorns.
This is your ex-wife, is like the analogy I used last week. You get a divorce, you move to a new neighborhood, and your ex-wife moves to your new neighborhood, and she's now at the HOA pool in your neighborhood. Well, I got a divorce for a reason. I don't want to see you at the pool. Now Texas is showing up at the pool, after you've moved 10 years later. That's not what we signed up for here.
If Frank Broyles was still alive, not necessarily just in the athletic director capacity, but if he was with us today and he saw the money financial side potential of this deal, which we don't know exactly what it is. Figures haven't necessarily been staunch reported. We don't know. Do you think he would go for this?
I think my opinion, and I mean only the late great Frank Broyles could answer, but I think he'd be all for it just because of the rivalries renewed. I think he would be excited about playing Texas on an ongoing basis. I think he would be insistent, though, that Texas follow the business model of the SEC and not be asking for a leg up financially or an extra share or to have their network carry on or to be more than an equal share member. I think under the terms of being an equal share member, I think he'd be excited to welcome them in and renew that rivalry with the old Southwest Conference school.
And I go back and forth because, I mean, they left, and I think the main reason, and Clay would be better to articulate it than I would, but the main reason that they jumped ship is because I think he had the foresight to see that the Southwest Conference was going to be no more. And what he said on Bo's show, I think back in 2016, is they were not going to get an invite to the Big 8 at the time, which is now the Big 12.
Right.
So seeing that out ahead, and we know the story, Roy Kramer, Augusta, the deal got done there supposedly, to have that wherewithal to get out in front of this. Now Arkansas is in a situation, I mean, it's not like they're going to kick Arkansas out of the league. Right,
you have safe harbor.
Yeah, you're
as a member.
You're here, and you're not worried. You're not a Baylor fan. You're not a TCU fan. You're not an Oklahoma State fan. You're not a Kansas State fan. Wondering, hey, what's next for us? Because and I know it's a pain in the butt to deal with Oklahoma and Texas, but they bring such a attraction that helps out the entire conference.
Well, you mentioned Baylor and TCU. At least they have TV markets to offer a new league. If you're Kansas State, you have no national presence. You have no true tradition. If you're Oklahoma State, you're a good program, but you don't bring much to the table. At least if you're Baylor or TCU or some of these teams, you got Houston and Dallas and some of these things to offer. I feel bad for Kansas State fans. I mean, you may end up in the WAC. Who knows how this or geographically displaced in the Pac-12. I mean, just really rough. So, Oklahoma and Texas don't bring a ton as far as TV markets to the table because most of those markets are already in the SEC footprint. Yeah, you can maybe add Oklahoma City and Tulsa a little bit to that footprint, but I imagine most of those cities already have the SEC network. We know the ones in Texas do, but they bring a national digital presence and a national brand to the table that I won't say is unmatched, but it's a top 5, top 10 national brand that would be joining your league.
Mm-hmm. And what you just brought up with Kansas State, when you think about Kansas State, I think of one thing. I think they have. I think it's Fake Patty's Day. There's just a huge Manhattan, Kansas is apparently really fun that weekend or that day or whatever it is. But I don't think, when I think Kansas State, Oklahoma State, I think wrestling. Kansas, I think basketball. Like there are certain sports that you associate a program with. When I think Kansas State, I think Bill Snyder.
Right.
And that's it. But their football program, we know about Colin Klein and company, who you beat back in the Cotton Bowl back in 2011. But you're not like, wow, great football program, great basketball program, great baseball. You don't associate them with anything. Other schools you do. And I think that's where Kansas State finds itself right now. 877-377-6963. JW, why do you think the Big 12 will survive?
Well, what I think is that there's a bunch of teams that are Big 12-type teams that are geographically matched. At Oklahoma State, they'd be a great addition to the Southeast Conference, but we're not known for our wrestling, and they are. There's other teams around that would fit in well, not only with the wrestling program, but with the football and basketball. And they could go as far east as Memphis and then go west as far as they needed to pick up the required numbers and create a super conference that would have some real impact on the financials for those schools and not create any more problems for the SEC. We're going to have, with everything going here, I'm hoping our pod includes the Texas schools, Oklahoma, and I hope we get Ole Miss too. Yeah. Those are the ones that I want to see in our particular, every year play. And what you all have been talking about of having it so that you can play every team in the conference every 4 or 5 years, I think that's just going to be good for everybody.
So, hang on, J-Dub. So you say the Big 12 will survive. Who would be the headline members? Who would be the big-name schools in a Big 12 you think could expand as far east as Memphis and as west? Who would be those marquee schools? I'd love to hear this.
Well, what I think is that I think there are a lot more Big 12 fans out there, just like there are a lot more Arkansas fans out across the country and Oklahoma fans than are just geographically. So I'm talking about TV revenue. There are a lot of places in California. I mean, I grew up in a wrestling program in California. Your dream was to go to Iowa State or to Oklahoma State. That was the dream. And they will get following. Now, as far as the marquee matchup, it's hard to tell, and it may be different from sport to sport.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, Memphis may be the basketball kingpin. It's just hard to tell. Across the board in football, I think they'll be very competitive. I just think that they play a different style of football, but I think they'll be very competitive.
Yeah. JW, thanks for the call. That's right there why I don't think the Big 12 has much of a future, guys, because you got to have teams that draw a national audience, and you got to have TV markets within that footprint that are valuable to a TV partner, because the idea and the reason this is even happening is because the Big 12 is willing to give a share and a half to OU and Texas, and that would get their revenue to $56 million.
I guess 56 is what.
Okay, that's not even going to be equal to what a 1/14th share is going to be in the SEC moving forward under the new TV deal. And the idea is you're going to still be $10 or $12 million a year behind. The idea is you want to keep in the Big Ten and the SEC are more or less on equal footing. The ACC is trying to catch up with their league network, and the Pac-12's behind, and then the Big 12's behind all of them. That's what they're trying to balance out here is 4 super conferences, power conferences, at least those 64 schools could be at least close to equal footing on conference distributions of revenue.
Yeah, and to your point, who is the most attractable school in the Big 12? If Texas and is it Oklahoma State?
Kansas for basketball, and Oklahoma State and Baylor. I mean, TCU and Baylor make a case because of the TV markets they have in Texas. I keep coming back to that because that is what brings money to the table. Is Dallas, it's San Antonio, it's Houston. It's those markets that are big. Houston and Dallas are top 7 markets, television-wise. DMA
5.
Yeah,
and top 5. Well, no, I say that. I know they're 2 of the top 5 biggest cities in the world. They might be.
All right. So I mean, you're talking highly attractive television markets.
Mm-hmm.
And how big a deal is TCU and Baylor and those in those markets? That's part of the research that has to be done as well. Not as big as probably even OU is in that market, or certainly Texas or Texas A&M. But that's part of the calculus that has to be done on this.
So you're welcome to hop in here this morning. We're talking Oklahoma, Texas, the SEC. It's 877-377-6963. The number you referred to is 56. The SEC looks like it's going to pay out their members in 2024 and 2025 $65 to $67 million. Now, if you remember, CBS, that contract it gets nixed after that, so it'll be all ESPN that will handle all the SEC stuff. Now, the Big 12 has Fox and ESPN that's split right now. Something else to think about.
So if you're going to bring OU and Texas on board, how do you raise conference television revenues and league revenues another $130 million? 9 games, another league network. Something's got to give there, because if not, you start dividing the money 16 ways rather than 14 ways. So part of this model is, at least long term, you got to figure out how's the size of the pie get bigger. Because no one wants less money.
Less money, yeah, except for the Big 12 schools that are reportedly Bob Bullsman Company are trying to keep Oklahoma and Texas by giving them more. Let's go to the phone lines. Welcome in David in Fort Smith. David, you got a comment on the Big 12 and Kansas State.
Yeah, I'm a Kansas State fan, and I say this, understanding the ramifications for what could happen to Kansas State. I've been a Kansas State fan since 1972. I call the program from time to time. But I'm sick of Texas and Oklahoma bullying us around. I'm sick of it. I just wish they'd go ahead and cut them loose, hand them their walking papers, and let the chips fall where they may. I've called that Kansas State radio station in the evening. I called them Friday and told them the same thing. I said I'm sick and tired of this nonsense because we've been pushed around and we've been beat. You guys know how it felt when you was in the Southwest Conference. I remember the Southwest Conference days. I'm dating myself, but I remember the Arkansas Southwest Conference days. And you know exactly what it's like to be bullied like you're a redheaded stepchild, and that's what they do to the rest of the Big 12. And I'm sick of it, and I understand Kansas State will end up in the Mountain West if we're lucky. But teams have done okay there, and they can still win some games. And with the expansion of the playoff like it is, there's a thin chance they might get in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But if they could win out, but still, I'm done with it. I'm sick and tired of Texas and Oklahoma bullying us around like a redheaded stepchild, and everybody else taking it, just like TCU and Baylor, getting on the phone with them and getting down on their knees and begging, please stay. No, I'm sick of it. Let them go. And they're going to regret coming to the SEC for one main reason. You guys have already talked about it. They're not going to be able to bully you guys. They're going to get there and find out really quick that they're one out of 16 teams, and more than likely, like Al Ashback said over in Oklahoma, this is actually a couple of years ago, they're going to be sitting over in the corner with a dunce cap on for the first 2 years. That's just how it happens.
And, David, you're a K-State fan. We have people asking. I just want to make sure I'm getting that correct.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
All right, cool. David, we appreciate your call. I could hear the anger and frustration in your voice.
David is sick and tired of it.
So I was not obviously at 26 years old around for Arkansas being in the Southwest Conference, but listening to Clay, listening to Tommy talk about it, you can tell that there's still this irritation about Texas thinking they're going to come in. But as David just, I think, accurately portrayed, you can't do that in the Southeastern Conference. The SEC is doing Texas a favor if they do let them into this league. You know why? Because this is the best conference in not just college football, but college sports. The Big 12, they've had some good college football teams, good baseball teams, good basketball teams, good sports, but it doesn't have the same level of revenue. The Longhorn Network screwed everything up. If Texas comes in, they got to sort out everything with the TV stuff. Greg Sankey, Herb Vincent, Chuck Dunlap, Craig Pinkerton, all those guys down there in Hoover aren't going to be swayed or scared of ticking Chris DeLaconte, the athletics director at Texas, off because they don't care.
So what's Texas and OU's options here? Go to a new league and go together because they're more valuable together than individually, or they go together and find a way to expand the Big 12 from 10 teams to 14. Well, how do you do that if you're the Big 12? What 4 teams is going to leave a Power 5 league now to come join yours? Maybe a few Pac-12 teams might entertain that. Maybe Colorado, but they know what it's like. Maybe Nebraska would leave the Big 10, but they know what they'd be getting into. You've already run those people off, already run those teams off. So where else are you going to go? So that's the problem with the Big 12 is they need to either expand and grow their revenue so they can compete as a conference.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't see how they could gain 4 more teams of consequence. Yeah, you could add 4 teams, but would they be it would be, New Mexico State, Memphis, teams of that level, the group of 6 teams. Who are you going to add out of a Power 5 league if you're the Big 12? And that's their choices right now. Maybe Houston would probably be at the top of your list.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't add anything to your TV market.
Well, I don't understand why Houston always gets brought into a TV market. If you follow Houston and been in a league with them, nobody in Houston cares about Houston. Yeah. Houston has had plenty of opportunities to show that they have a decent fan base and an actual following around that city. They hosted the first American Athletic Conference Championship in a 35,000-seat stadium and could barely get it half filled.
But what if they were? But what if it's a Big 12 championship? Now it's a different equation.
Bigger.
Exactly.
Might be, but
I agree with what you're saying.
You have to prove that you will support it.
Well, but maybe they would support it. But I'm just saying the Big 12's at a crossroads here, and Texas and OU are the Big 12, and they've taken the path of looking at leaving the conference apparently, because that league has either got to grow, and I don't know how they would grow that league back to a level where they could get their revenue up to compete and get a deal with Fox and ESPN that would get them on the same financial footing of the Big Ten and the SEC. And that's the only way you can do it. You can't do it with 10 schools confined to a few states.
So are we under the impression that the announcement is going to come within the next 2 weeks and the actual realignment is going to come by about 2024, 2025? Is that what I feel like I keep reading or hearing that.
I think the announcement part will come sooner rather than later. And the dates and when that will, I think that news will come out sometime during football season, perhaps.
I want to know, like with this linking coming out, and we've seen Kirk Bowles, I've seen several other different writers talk about their sources telling them this, and I know some people are sourced within the athletic program departments of each school. Some have SEC connections where certain higher ups within Hoover tell them stuff. I mean, there's just so much. I mean, you saw a rundown this morning. There's about 10 tidbits that I had to add of just like different reports, different stories, and it's hard to keep track of everything that's been stated to this point.
And how many of those tidbits out there are, truly factual right now?
That's a good point, because
everybody's got a source in the league office.
So, Tommy, I talked to Brent Zwerneman, Houston Chronicle guy that aired the report. He was walking up the elevator and said, "Brett, hey, thanks for coming on this morning." He's telling me that this is the busiest he's ever been.
Well, imagine so. I mean, he broke the biggest story in quite some time in college sports. So, all right, Hot Take Monday here on the Morning Rush. Lots of calls and texts still coming in. We're brought to you by Burton Pools and Spas, your source for backyard fun. They can help you with an above-ground or in-ground pool, or maybe a big green egg if you want a new way to grill a steak or a burger or smoke a rack of ribs that can't be beat. They can help you with that as well, and a full line of pellet grills from Louisiana as well. So Louisiana Grills, check that out. Right now, savings through the end of the month on cash and carry deals on above-ground pools starting at $19.99. So go see the team at Burton Pools and Spas. If you need any chemicals after the rain to get your water back in balance, they can test your water and help you with that as well. Burton Pools and Spas, Springdale and in Fort Smith, and always online at burtonpools.com, your source for backyard fun.
We'll take Lonnie in Green Forest's call coming up, and your calls and texts. More than happy on this discussion and some Arkansas football news.
Hot Take Monday is brought to you by Wheels RV, Highway 412 in Springdale, and online at wheelsrv.net.
Eagles Nest is coming in hot.
Do you suffer from lower back pain, knee pain, foot pain, or fallen arches? Do you? If yes, just stop and write this magic word, G-Defy, G-D-E-F-Y. What is G-Defy? G-Defy is the footwear designed by Gravity Defier Medical Technology with the worldwide patented VersoShock sole. Their shoes are clinically shown to relieve pain by a double-blind clinical study conducted by Olive View UCLA Medical Center. You can try a pair for 30 days with free corrective fit orthotic inserts. If you're not satisfied, just return the shoes for a full refund and keep the free orthotics as a gift. Put an end to suffering. Save $20 and get free shipping from Gravity Defier when you go to gdefy.com/radio and use code RADIO. That's gdefy.com/radio, code RADIO. You have nothing to lose but your pain.
You Almonds versus the nefarious headphone tangle. Suddenly the feeling strikes, the urge to groove and move. But those trusty earbuds are in the tangle of all tangles. You dive in following the headphone jack into a white wire nightmare. But with a little finger gymnastics, all's right with the world. Woohoo! Also, your headphones are untangled. We're not saying it's thanks to the 6 grams of energy-giving protein in almonds, but we're not saying it's not either. California Almonds. Own your everyday, every day.
Harry Robinson Buick GMC wants to buy your vehicle, and they'll pay top dollar today. Pre-owned car values are at an all-time high, and your car is worth more today than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Buick GMC, and they will pay you more for your trade. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they will still buy yours. Harry Robinson Buick GMC, exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again.
Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Head to toe, it's gotta be Jelco for hard work and the great outdoors.
Hey, bow hunters, archery season is closer than you think. Now is the perfect time to bring in your bow for a tune-up for the upcoming season. Let our staff at Jelco Outdoors check out your bow and get you ready to start practicing soon. Check out all the new arrivals by Matthews, Hoyt, Bowtech, and Elite. Jelco has the largest selection of archery equipment in the area. Shop local. Shop Jelco Outdoors, 4600 South Zero in Fort Smith.
Doe's Eat Place, serving award-winning steaks, has now added lobster tail and salmon to the menu. You can also enjoy delicious appetizers along with your choice of drinks from the largest selection of wines, beer, and liquor in the River Valley. Doe's Eat Place is open Tuesday through Thursday 5 till 9 and Friday and Saturday 5 till 10. Reservations are recommended. Call 784-9111. That's 784-9111. Doe's Eat Place, 422 North 3rd Street, Fort Smith.
Are you looking for a new place to call home? Whether you're looking for an apartment, duplex, townhome, or a house, Trinity Multifamily has you covered. They even have options in surrounding states, from Texas to Michigan and Kansas to Tennessee. If you're looking for a new place to call home, make Trinity Multifamily your first call at 479-452-1817. That's 479-452-1817. Or online at trinitymultifamily.com to search rental properties near you.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One has a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
Tri-Hill Turf offers the highest quality turf and pest services. Hey, you say those are big words. Well, let's see. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has a company agronomist, state and nationally certified technicians, free soil testing, and they even have precision GPS guided application equipment. Now that's high tech. For over 30 years, Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has used the latest application technology, and they strive for turf and pest excellence. They are your local turf and pest experts. Call the local team at 782-0404. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest.
Did you know that you can get your car serviced or repaired without ever leaving your house? All you have to do is call Jody's Auto Service Center at 479-649-3399. Jody's will pick up your vehicle, service or repair it for you, and return it fully disinfected to your driveway. Pickup and delivery is free for jobs $75 or more. Jobs less than $75 can be picked up and returned for a $10 fee. Let Jody's Auto Service Centers handle all your service and vehicle repair needs. Call 479-649-3399. Jody's Auto Service Center.
ESPN 95.3.
Good morning to the Morning Rush, everybody.
Off play action. Costello has it picked off by Fouché. Fouché takes it away at the 21. Coming up the left sideline, he'll skip over a defender at the 40, and they'll push him out of bounds out near the 45. Fouché with the pick, and the Hogs have the football.
Call or text the Morning Rush at 877-377-6963.
If we lose tonight, this will be the last call you hear on this program. I'll probably be dead. Now, if I live through it, I'll call back.
Now, Tommy, to my knowledge, Miss Lisa has not voiced her opinion on this OU Texas matter, has she?
We haven't heard from her in a month or more.
Well, we'll get Lonnie's opinion and your opinion coming up at 877-377-6963. Also going to get to some Arkansas football news as well.
Hey, whether you're fishing a jetty on the Arkansas River or you're working some laydowns on the lake like at Beaver or Ouachita or Table Rock, the Heddon Super Spook Jr. is the topwater bait to call up summer bass. The Super Spook Jr. is a smaller version of the world's most famous topwater lure. The Spook is the original walk-the-dog lure. It's been tricking big bass for almost 100 years now. You can find it at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle shops everywhere. It's the Heddon Super Spook Jr.
Lonnie in Green Forest, you're on the Morning Rush, man.
Morning, guys. I just wanted to weigh in. I think the Texas OU thing is really, really good.
the SEC, because I think that we're on the front end of super conferences being formed, and adding Texas and OU, the SEC is going to be, you'd have to almost take two other conferences, major conferences, and put their best teams together to equal what we're going to have in the SEC if this goes through. And I think it's fantastic, but I do think that Texas is going to test the waters as far as can they get more than everybody else. I mean, they always do. That's just their MO. But I think that the SEC has enough stroke. A lot of teams have enough stroke that they'll hold their own. I mean, I don't think Texas is going to get away with it, but overall, I think it's a great thing, and it gives us, the Razorbacks, a great traditional rival that we don't have right now. I mean, we can talk about, Missouri or whoever, but from the Razorbacks fan standpoint, they hate Texas more than anybody. And if they'd bring them back in, I think it's great. I think it's great. And hats off to Frank Broyles for having the vision to put us where we're at.
Lonnie, we appreciate the call. Tommy, you brought it up earlier. I mean, this goes into any line of work. And I realize over time some people can be frustrated to work with, deal with, and just put up with on a daily to weekly to monthly basis. But what you've been taught over the years, my dad taught me, is don't burn bridges.
Right.
Texas has burned some bridges, right?
Right.
And so you're going to be at a point where if they tell the SEC to shove it or they get mad at something it does, Greg Sankey's just going to go give him the double bird salute and say, see you later, go find someone else. Because they don't have, again, Texas thinks that they can enter a situation, they'll have all the power. They're going to be the big dogs. And you're joining the best conference in not just college football, in the country of any sport. You don't have that say-so now. You have to understand that.
I think
Do they?
I don't think they would be having these conversations if they didn't know what they were getting into. I think they know what they're signing up for. They know they're not going to run. This is a different league. They're stepping up a few notches in class here. Mm-hmm. This is a different level of graded stakes race here. They're not,
Any comparison, what you would say it's going from there to here?
It's a difference between a grade 1 to grade 3 here. I mean, they're
it's a Western sizzling steak to a dough steak.
Well, I mean, they know that the differences in what they're signing up for is longevity, and I think that's really what Texas and OU. They know that the Big 12 is wobbling right now. They cannot compete financially, and that if they're going to be able to have longevity and security for decades to come, they need to they see what's coming down the road with NIL and the future of television and the future of digital and the future of everything that's going to happen, and the Big 12 is going to get left behind. Their choice is really to figure out a way to expand and revamp the Big 12 or move. And they burn those bridges, as you mentioned. How else are you going to expand? It'd be great if you could welcome Nebraska back in the league and welcome maybe Colorado and bring that Denver market with you back into the league. Maybe go to get Arizona and Arizona State or some, go out to the Pac-12 and get it. But no one trusts Texas. So Texas has to go with hat in hand and swallow their pride and come to the best league in the country and try to become a member. So, if Notre Dame can find a piece of common ground and get to the ACC, and I think you'll soon see them become a full-time member. They've essentially been that for a little while. They play half an ACC schedule and all full schedules in all sports except football. I think they'll become a full member of the ACC, sooner rather than later as well. And there's reports that's been talked about in recent times. So if Notre Dame can find a way to give up all they've had and all the control they've had of their own situation, I think Texas can as well.
I want to know what the television contract for Notre Dame would look like if they were to join a conference with NBC having those rights and how they'd go about doing that.
And would they be enough of a rising tide to make up that ground? Yeah, they'd split the money with the other 15 members of their conference, but would that be enough of a rising tide to make up for the money they had that they did not have to split with NBC? Again, you don't want to be left holding the bag and being an independent in the coming world of college athletics. That's a risk you cannot take. Brought to you by Farm Credit. In addition to farms and livestock and homes, Farm Credit can help you finance recreational land. They have a new loan product that makes financing all sizes of hunting tracts quick and easy. They understand that hunting and fishing, hey, it's just part of what we do here in Arkansas, and they make it easy for you to finance that hunting track you've been leasing for years. Now it can be part of your family heritage. Your local Farm Credit office can help you finance that hunting land that you've always wanted before deer or turkey season again. Stop in your local Farm Credit office and ask about financing recreational land before this fall.
All right, you got one last segment here on a Hot Take Monday edition of the Morning Rush. If you want to jump in here and give you your opinion of the Arkansas-Texas stuff, we'll also get into some hog football news, some guys being recognized by this league to have success in 2021. It's also Aunt and Uncle Day. If you got a story or something you want to share about your favorite aunt or uncle, you're more than welcome to do that. I don't think we're going to be celebrating National Tofu Day here on the Morning Rush, but if you really want to, I guess we can on the other side of this.
Hot Take Monday is brought to you by Wheels RV, Highway 412 in Springdale, and online at wheelsrv.net.
Hey, it was BYOG, bring your own guts.
When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
Now that's a dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite. White perch, slab, sacalé, paper mouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
Do you know the difference between admission and confession? Admission is acknowledging the truth of something. Confession is a formal statement agreeing that you're guilty. Greg Allman admitted he's no angel, but that doesn't mean he confessed his guilt before God. Romans 10:10 says, one believes and is justified, and with the mouth one confesses and is saved. Confess to God that Jesus died in your guilty place, and then you'll receive His amazing grace. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Pray about it.
Paint store in Van Buren. For 33 years, we have worked with professionals as well as homeowners to share the best tips and techniques. Richards Paint, made in USA. Wooster Rollers, made in USA. Corona Brushes, made in USA. We want nothing more than to share our knowledge to help you achieve the best paint job. Friendly, expert, professional. The Paint Store in Van Buren.
Hi folks, Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center. Are you feeling trapped making payments on a car you don't like? It's time to declare your independence and get into something nicer and newer today at Rath Auto Resources. We're making it easy with discounts up to $4,150 below suggested retail on a great selection of Rath road-ready vehicles, each one hand-picked and inspected in our Meineke Car Care Center. Plus, we need trades, so we're giving up to $3,200 extra for your trade-in. Those savings really add up and make it easier than ever to trade up into something nicer and newer, even if you still owe money. If you're keeping the car you have, let us take care of it for you in our Meineke Car Care Center with free AC performance checks, half-off brakes, and buy 3, get 1 free on all tires. Better yet, declare your independence and start driving better today in a Rath road-ready vehicle from Arkansas's favorite used car dealer, Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith, or online, rathauto.com.
Requires bank approval. Negative equity may be refinanced. Offer absolutely ends by July 30th, 2021.
It is officially open. Wave Rural Connect for Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative members north of Ozark, including Cass, Paradise, Batson, and others. To sign up, call 1-833-4WAVE-RC or go online at signup.waveruralconnect.com. Fiber internet starting at $49.95 a month. TV $32.95 and phone $29.95. It's what you've been waiting for and more. Trust me, we love it. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Loading the kids in the car, brokering peace in the back seat, mastering the snack handoff without even looking. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. We work with independent agents who keep insurance simple, so you can worry about more important things, like figuring out what's growing in that cup holder. That's simple human sense.
Call Kohler and Green Insurance today in Fort Smith at 484-9888 and Kohler and Green Insurance in Van Buren at 474-9888.
Tired of constant computer issues at work? And who knows what the real problem is? Is it the router? No, it's the hardware. Wait, they said it was the software. Call Hashtag Managed IT Services. Their multifaceted approach to IT support guarantees that everything is working at optimum performance. And Hashtag prevents the small problems from becoming big issues. Hashtag Managed IT Services in Van Buren. 479-802-4978. That's 479-802-4978. Hashtag technology without the headache. Burton Pools and Spas in Springdale and in Fort Smith is your source this summer for backyard fun. Hi, Tommy Kraft here. There's no better way to enjoy family and friends than with your own above-ground pool this summer from Burton Pools and Spas. And they're on sale this month, starting at just $19.99. Come on by Burton's, pick them up, take them home, and save a bundle on above-ground pools. Don't miss this opportunity to make the backyard of your dreams a reality. They've got a limited supply available right now. Ask about the full line of Doughboy above-ground pools, the best pool on the market, built to last for years of enjoyment by you and your family. Check out Doughboy above-ground pools right now and save big at Burton Pools and Spas. They're on 0 Street in Fort Smith and just off I-49 at the 412 exit in Springdale. And you can always see Burton's full lineup online at burtonpools.com. Burton Pools and Spas. They're your source for backyard fun.
ESPN 95.3. The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson and Tommy Kraft.
Jeremy Davis has missed one today. Jacob Skinner will hold it. The kick is up. Arkansas wins.
Follow the show on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine.
Last segment here on the Morning Rush. I heard Drew listening to the Ole Miss Arkansas game. That would have been, 2001? 6 or 7 OT? I always mix it up. Was that 02? I
believe
it was 01. Yeah, because Matt Jones had come in
yeah.
as a true freshman. Did that. You heard the Jeremy Davis 2006 Alabama game. You had some stellar games this past season for Arkansas. They were able to win. Now, they're not necessarily in the same category as those two games, but you'd like to see some big-time matchups, big-time performances this year as we are 40 days out from Razorback football.
The days of 7 overtimes are over, though. Starting this year, they changed the overtime rules, so I don't think you're going to – I say that. I don't think you'll see that. But maybe with these 2-point conversions, and that's what you go to in the third overtime, maybe we'll be wrong about that. Hey, brought to you by Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off I-49 in Springdale. They bring you Hot Take Monday every week. They have a lifetime warranty on every new RV they sell and a mobile service shuttle to keep you camping. See Lee, Jay, and Chris. They'll take care of you, give you a great price on a Grand Design, Forest River, KZ, Heartland, Keystone, or Alliance. The best brands at the best prices or at Wheels RV. Again, 5 miles west of exit 72 off I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
Saw that I was messing around yesterday. I had a lot to think about on a 7-hour drive, and I looked up, Tommy, there's airlines are all over the place, and I realized that this past month I hadn't been on an airplane since like 2018, but there's a flight to Atlanta out of Little Rock from Delta. It's only 182. That's all it is. So for the Athens game, for the Georgia game coming up, and I know that a few games that I'm excited to go see, but I think when we come back to the idea of playing Oklahoma and Texas, I mean, those are, especially Oklahoma, I would try and go to Oklahoma as much as possible with being how close Norman is in his proximity to Arkansas.
I mean, even College Station and Austin are doable, particularly for the western side of the state. So
what's College Station from Fayetteville? How far is that?
Oh,
I've never been.
About probably 8 or so, I'm going to guess. Something like that.
I was talking to Mike Irwin about that. I think I've told this before. Mike does not like College Station at all.
Pastor Kevin texted earlier and said, we talk about the Houston and the Dallas markets and the San Antonio markets, how large they are. The Austin market is the same size as Northwest Arkansas and Little Rock combined. So,
wow.
You forget about how large Austin has grown to, and one of those top cities in the country to live in based on all the rankings. So, Austin has really grown, and it's, Little Rock and Northwest Arkansas put together as far as size goes.
It's expensive, though. I got a friend that lives down there. She's paying like $800. She's paying $1,800, I think, for a single by herself. Maybe it's $1,800, $1,900, $2,000, but it's not pricing. Now, over under that recruit paying, or I keep saying recruit, with his parents paying for that billboard on Interstate 49. What do you think he's paying for that?
Oh, north of $2,000, a month.
It's that much?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
I found a website where, depending on how much of a slot you want, you can get it for like $500 a week.
Yeah, that's $2,000.
Yeah,
that's
depending on the rotation, how often it comes up. I mean, there's different plans on
birthday present.
These digital boards. These digital boards, it depends on how you come up every 6th rotation, every 12th. I mean, there's different plans on these outdoor signs, these LED boards.
Mm-hmm.
So
if you wanted the full slot, though, it'd be $1,100 a week.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
A lot of cash to fork over. Yeah. Whew, that's something money wise. All right, other Hog news this morning. So that young man's trying to get Sam Pittman's attention and get to the University of Arkansas at some point.
Be a good player.
Yeah.
Put good things on film. You'll get his attention.
I was going to say.
Don't need a billboard.
That's all you have to do. Some guys that have gotten the attention of Sam Pittman, not just Sam Pittman, but the rest of the SEC. You've got Ricky Stromberg, who's part of the Remington Trophy Award watch list. And you got 5 guys all SEC. Jalen Catalon, Grant Morgan, and Stromberg are second team. Myron Cunningham's third. And then Traylon Burks is the first teamer right now, picked by the All-SEC. Not really any surprises based on...
when you're a returning starter in a Power 5 conference and you've had a decent season or two before you, I mean, you're going to get on the watch list. I mean, these watch lists are expansive. You look at them, there are dozens of names on these watch lists. So you want to make the cuts and then get down to, and obviously, have a chance to win it. Your team's going to have to win ball games. And that's for Arkansas to have some of these guys, whether it's the Remington or the Bolitnikov or any of these awards. Traylon Smith, which one was he on? Was it the Davey not the Davey O'Brien? The
Maxwell.
The Maxwell.
I think that's right.
Davey O'Brien's
He also got Doak Walker.
Okay, Doak Walker was the one I was thinking
that's
of.
Probably the one you're thinking
Traylon
of.
was on that one. I mean, I think Arkansas would have to be at least 7 and probably 8 wins this year. Maybe 7 with a huge upset. You're going to have to do something special. I mean, these awards generally don't go to very many people on teams that don't have, at least records up there. And I think Arkansas would have to probably upset somebody along the way that would be very noteworthy.
Mm-hmm. So. I've gotten multiple emails in the past couple of days. They're really still pushing that Texas mini game plan. Have you been receiving those emails? I've gotten, I think, 2 in the last 3 or 4 days.
And they say that, of course, the emails say they're moving fast, and they probably have moved some of those. They've gotten the price points down to where you're, I think it's $150 or less. You can get one of these, depending on whether it's upper bowl or lower bowl. There's a price difference, but I think for some people that's attractive. It's doable to take your kids if you're working on a budget. I think you're still battling people that I just watch from my patio. I'll watch from my living room. I've invested over the last year in a new setup at the house, and it becomes attractive.
What stage of life does that happen? Like, when am I going to flip over and just refuse to go to games because the traffic, or I don't want to be out in the sun all day? When is that going to occur? Kids?
I don't know how many dozens and dozens of games I've been to and covered them, as a credentialed member of the media. And at some point you've done it, you've seen it, and I admire the ones like Clay and Tom and Bob that continue to do it. It's their job, and I fortunately have some options with what we do here that I can work from the studio and home and be closer to the studio. Here's why I prefer the TV experience at home.
Okay.
And you've seen this. You come to my house, we're going to have 2 and sometimes 3 TVs going where we can watch multiple games. And that's what I feel I miss when I go to the game. I don't get to see, Georgia Auburn playing at the same time as Arkansas Ole Miss or whatever's going on, at the same time. I feel like I've seen one game that whole day, and that was the Arkansas and whoever game, versus I want to see the 5 or 6 other SEC games that day. I don't feel like I'm as informed and just as a fan, whether doing the show or not, those are the games I live for, man. I want to watch Tennessee, Alabama. I want to watch Georgia, Auburn. I want to watch Ole Miss, LSU. I want to watch all these games, and I miss them if I'm at the game. That's why I do what I do.
When the Arkansas Razorbacks are playing inside or we're watching it on TV, I'm just so heavily focused on that game. The other ones might be on in the background, but when Arkansas is on basketball or football, rare is it that I'm paying attention to someone else, something else. I just have there's such a higher priority for me. Maybe at a certain point that'll change in my life, but I've always enjoyed since I was probably three or 4 years.
It's hard for me to attentively watch 2 games at once, but I do like having that on where I can glance over in between plays or whatever and kind of keep up.
I mean, heck, my grandpa, Daddy Joe, had a heart attack inside of Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium, and I anticipate with my family's history of heart, if I'm going to have a heart attack, I hope it's inside their Bud Walton Arena. Not that I want a heart attack at all, but at some point I probably will, and if it happens, I hope it's inside one of those stadiums because something crazy happens.
And if you go and you get a tailgate spot, and by the time you get your tickets and your donations, and it doesn't take very many seasons, and you can pay for a pretty nice setup at your house. It doesn't take long. So, the internet always works at home. The bathroom, you go through all the things. You gotta want to fight to get to the stadium. You gotta want to fight to get the parking spot and the tailgate spot and all of that. You gotta want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and now it's one thing to want to do that for the NBA draft Thursday night. Moses Moody's name's probably going to get called. Hopefully in the top 10. If he wants to slide to 18 to the Thunder, I'm absolutely okay. It's either 18 or 16. I'm absolutely okay with that. But that's like that. That
if he goes outside the top 10, I'll be surprised.
Yeah, that is where is that in Madison Square? Where is the draft?
I have no idea.
Drew, you're more of a
in the Barclays Center.
Okay, well,
doing it there again.
Maybe
I'm not sure.
Maybe look that up real quick because I can't remember where they're having
got
it.
This Google thing over here. I'll look at.
Yeah. So that's that I get is something, but I'm curious to see what the attendance looks like inside of Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium this fall. All I know is once Texas comes to town.
Barclays Center, Brooklyn, New York.
You called it. So all I know is when Texas come to town, that game is going to be rocking. And if Texas and Oklahoma do indeed come to the Southeastern Conference, that's a game that people are going to look forward to every single year. Now, my roommate was sitting when I got back to the house, and I tossed him one of my SEC lanyards that I got for over the weekend. It's like, welcome to the league, big guy, because he's a big Oklahoma fan.
Oh, I get you in the league.
Yeah, here you go.
Oh, because he's an Oklahoma fan. I got you.
Because he's an Oklahoma fan.
Got you.
And I know he's really excited. Now, he has not come out and said this, but I think it's not just him. I think it's other Oklahoma fans think they're going to have a lot of success in this league. And I want to know what that looks like. And if Lincoln Riley's still your the Oklahoma Sooners head football coach, Nick Saban's still in the league, and you've got all these other powerhouse teams within this conference, can Oklahoma and Texas, what do they do?
They get more defensive players is the first thing they do.
Texas has a sub-600 record in the Big 12 in the past 10 years. Think about that. They lost to Kansas in football a couple years ago. This is not the same Texas under Darrell Royal. This is just like Arkansas's football is no longer the same, but Arkansas doesn't have the same cockiness and arrogance.
But they've brought in a new football coach that does understand and has had a front row seat to what it takes to win in the SEC.
As an offensive coordinator, though. And we know what happened the last time.
They brought him in as a head coach.
Yes, I know that. But we know what happened the last time he was a head coach. He couldn't handle the pressure, and he reverted back to something in his past that didn't go well. What will happen when you have boosters up your butt, up your rectum like they are in Austin, Texas, and they want to know everything about your program. They want to know this. How does he handle that? Because he didn't do media at Alabama. Saban doesn't do that with his assistant coaches. How does Steve Sarkisian, who's a great football coach, handle the other outside pressures associated, not just with the head coaching get, but the Texas job overall?
Well, sounds like you're kind of wishing him ill will there. So, we'll see. I mean, the first thing both of those programs better do is make a greater commitment to defense. If they indeed join the SEC, they better play some defense because it's not offense first in this league like it's been Big 12.
Yeah. Exactly right. All right, good Hot Take Monday edition of the Morning Rush. Clay will be back with us, done with vacation. And tomorrow, then again, Ivan Maisel, longtime ESPNer now with On3 Sports, joins us at 8 o'clock. For Drew and Tommy, I'm Ty Richardson. Everyone have a fantastic day.
Tommy Craft for the